tense. But the big thing is these days, anytime Notre Dame plays, their fans have reason to be tense. But speaking of tension, I don't think I've ever seen a team come out, a college team, 3 hours before time and start kicking the ball around as Miami did today.
It was unusual. We commented on it, Jim. Well, maybe one of two things. One, they were either extremely nervous, or two, maybe it's a very small locker room, it was very warm in there. But neither one is the answer. Traditionally, Miami has come out early. They believe in getting out there, loosen up, very slow, so they're not doing anything different than they've done before.
And we've talked about the fact that this is a game important to both squads. Miami, defending national champions. They want to keep that chance to successfully defend it. And Notre Dame trying to get off with their best start ever under Jerry Faust.
Well, it's important for both teams need a win. Key game for an early season ball game. No bad blood between both these ball clubs also.
There is controversy here. We'll talk about it later, but now let's go back to you, Tom Mees.
Thank you, Jim. We've heard from the announcers that'll call tonight's game. Now let's hear from some of the principals involved. First of all, let's start with Miami head coach Jimmy Johnson.
Well, I think it's quite a challenge for our football team. I know that they are looking forward to going to South Bend and playing Notre Dame. It's a situation where, you know, Notre Dame's got one of the best teams in the country, and, you know, we want to feel like that we're at that level, and I know that it's going to be, you know, quite a ball game there Saturday night.
They're going to try to run straight at us. They're just off tackle inside, and then they got the sweep. They run the sweep a lot. I don't think they're going to throw too much, but they, you know, their running go along with their pass. They try to suck you in, and then they throw the dump pass on you. And so they're a hard, you know, hard offense to, you know, go against. But, you know, we just got to be physical and be meaner than they are.
We have a positive outlook as a team going up Notre Dame. You know, we've never won up there before in the previous years. We've never come out lucky enough to win a ball game up there. But I feel that this year we're going up there positive, and we know what we have to do going up there, and that's to win.
I think it's a big game for both teams, and both teams I think are really going to be emotional and ready to play the game, because it's a pivotal game for both teams at this point in the season.
Last week against Rice in a rainy Miami Orange Bowl, the Hurricanes quarterback Bernie Kosar had quite a day, passing for 368 yards and 3 touchdowns in a 38-3 romp. He exemplifies the Miami Hurricane offense, and you bet Jerry Faust, Notre Dame coach, is worried.
They're very explosive offensively. You know, they got those burners on the outside. Brown and Shakespeare, they can really fly, and Kozar can throw the ball 65, 70 yards without even hesitating. Their running game's really good too. Their offensive line's an experienced line, so they're really good offensively. They got a good kicking game too. Their field goal kicker's an excellent field goal kicker. Defensively, they're the typical Miami team. They're aggressive, they're intimidating, they're quick, they're strong. They have most of their secondary back, so they're very strong in defense too.
You have had to throw the football more than maybe you had originally planned before the year began. Is that putting more pressure on you?
Oh, not at all. No, I love to throw the football, and I just wait for the opportunity to throw the football. And to be honest with you, we haven't thrown the ball more than we thought we would have to at the beginning of the year. We're throwing about just what we had planned on. The thing is that we're a lot more effective than maybe we originally had planned. We knew we had the talent and the people to throw the football and things like that, but with the defense, like you said, keying on Allen so much, it really does make the passing game a lot more effective.
That game starts shortly at 7:30 Eastern Time. Back now to the scores. It's been a day of upsets in the Big Ten. Purdue upsetting Ohio State, and the getting underway. Fred Buckley.
Well, we remember very much what happened last year down in Miami. We had our pride hurt very badly, and they were very unclassy about it. They were very low class about the way they handled the victory, and it's one thing to lose to a team out in the field and, you know, knowing that you gave your best and everything, but when they're rubbing your face in the dirt and calling your names and taunting the whole game like Miami was last year, we remember that, and we're going to have our chance to get back at them this week. And this whole team feels the same way I do. We do not have much respect for Miami after what they did to us last year, and we're going to try to prove it on the field Saturday night.
Well, I have heard some of his statements, and you know, if that's his feelings, fine. The way I feel about it is it isn't really going to affect my performance, and I'm going to go out there tomorrow night and just have a good time.
Different viewpoints, same goal. Both Kozar and Berline want to win tonight's game here at Notre Dame. There is football history here at the University of Notre Dame, where tonight the Fighting Irish meet the defending national champions Miami. But also tonight there is controversy here. Notre Dame's players say that Miami last year was not a class act when they knocked them off 20-0. And good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Simpson. This is also a very pivotal game for both clubs, in that Jimmy Johnson's Miami team is in defense of its national championship. A loss tonight, that would just about finish their hopes of defending that championship successfully. For Notre Dame, if they should win tonight, they would be 4-1, and for Jerry Faust, under fire from many of the alumni around the country, it would be the best start ever, and that would silence quite a few of his critics. Well, Ed Miles is working with them tonight, and Ed is a former coach. You know, when you ask a coach something, he's not going to give you a straight answer. I asked Jerry Faust, I asked Jimmy Johnson, is this a pivotal game? And they said, no, just like any other game.
Well, Jim, they don't want to put the pressure on their football squad. They don't want to put the pressure on themselves. Both of them inside know that it's a key ball game for the ratings, for both things at the end of the year, and extremely important from Jerry's standpoint. He needs a win at home.
And now, we would like to say that also Notre Dame has not been running the ball well. That has been their strength. And as you take a look at their ratings around the country, you can see that they were not running well at all. They are passing better than the running, and that is unusual. And we'll come back in a moment with the information down on the field as they're about to begin with the starting lineups, and we'll come back with those in a moment. Tonight's game is brought to you by Michelob. Some things speak for themselves. And by the U.S. Armed Forces. It's a great place to start. In a moment, we'll meet the coaches and the players here at Notre Dame. 5 are certainly ready for tonight's pick-em ball game between Miami and Notre Dame. Jimmy Johnson just took over in May down at the University of Miami. And we asked Jimmy Johnson, who's already lost 2 ball games, about his concerns about Miami as they play Notre Dame here tonight.
Well, when we have had problems this year, it's been because we haven't protected for the passer, we hadn't protected for Kozar, and we've turned the ball over. And so, you know, we've got to make sure that we do not turn the ball over, and we've got to have solid pass protection.
And now looking at Notre Dame and the films of what they've got, and the knowledge of what they got, what are your concerns about Notre Dame as you play them?
Well, Notre Dame has, you know, so much talent. They have talent on both offense and defense. We know they have the capability to rise the occasion. They can play great football, and I know that they're looking forward to this ball game, and I'm sure they'll give a supreme effort.
Well, no surprises there, Ed. First of all, Jimmy Johnson wants to protect Bernie Kozar, and secondly, he's worried about the skill positions of Notre Dame.
Well, the skill position, but he also has to be concerned about the turnovers. The Hurricanes have made many turnovers, 17 to be exact up to this point. They've got to cut them down. They have to protect Kozar, yes.
You know, to be in a hot seat like Notre Dame, you got to be prepared to take the heat. Well, Jerry Faust has been taking a lot of heat. He would like to get off to his best start ever. He can do that if he wins tonight. We asked the same question of Jerry Faust. What is your concern about Notre Dame tonight?
Well, Jim, we have a couple players that are going to be playing tomorrow that have not practiced for a week. Mike Griffith and Larry Williams are at full strength now, but they have not practiced this week at all. In fact, Larry Williams, our starting guard, hasn't practiced twice in the last 4 weeks because of an ankle injury. He's getting better, and he's played in the games, but he has not been able to work with the offensive line. Griffith, our nose tackle, didn't play last week because of an injury in practice that occurred the week before, but he is better now, and both of them are going in the game without any practice time. John McCabe is filling in for Tony Furjanic, our linebacker, who is out, and John did a real fine job for us. Those are our big concerns. We've been banged up a little bit, but we've always seemed this year to be able to have someone go in and fill the bill.
Ed Miles, you've done it as a pro coach and as a head college coach. You can do all the planning you want. You can have the best players in the world, but if they're not healthy, it's difficult to win.
Well, health is important, but this program, they've got people that can stand in it. They've been heavily recruited. They have good players. Key thing tonight, they've got control of the line of scrimmage. They have to get the running game going. If they get the running game going, they can keep Kozar over on the sidelines, play keep away, and he won't put many points on the board.
We'll meet the players in a moment. The weather forecast calls for 70% chance of rain tonight. We hope that doesn't happen, and so do Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Faust. you could say the same thing if you're on the Notre Dame side looking at the offense, for example, of Miami.
Both squads have excellent people in skill position, Jim. Both quarterbacks completing 60% of their passes. Going to boil down to which defensive team can put pressure and make that quarterback get out of the pocket.
This game is really a toss-up. That's just not us talking. It is really a toss-up. But you should beat some of the players who are going to affect the outcome one way or the other. Let us start, first of all, with the defending national champion Miami team. For the defending national champion Miami team, their main man is still their quarterback Bernie Kosar out of Boardman, Ohio. Already this year, Kosar has had 3 300-yard games. His team knocked off Miami last year 20-0. We asked Bernie tonight, what will it take to beat Notre Dame?
I think the key for us is to be as consistent as possible. I think at times this year our concentration's been lacking, and if we're concentrating, I think that'll be the key to the game, and I think we'll be successful if we're on top of ourselves mentally.
Two things quarterbacks love: great offensive lines and receivers like Eddie Brown on your left and Stanley Shakespeare on your right.
Here we see Eddie Brown on a reception in the seam of the zone against Florida. 4.4 speed. He's a game-maker type player. Now Stanley Shakespeare, more of the moves man. Go down, make a little move, come to the inside. Tough receiver who gets yardage after he catches the ball.
The main man on defense is Ken Calhoun. He batted down a conversion attempt by Nebraska in the Orange Bowl on New Year's night to win the national championship for Miami.
Calhoun's the type of player that coaches love, Jim. He's always at the right place at the right time. Comes in and makes the big hits, makes big plays for him, makes the tackle, strips the ball, and gets it himself.
And we don't mean to indicate that Ken Calhoun, the big play man, is the only man, but he is the strength and the experience of that defensive secondary. And we don't mean to demean the Miami defense because they've got a good one, including some of those men along that line of defensive scrimmage.
Don't forget the role, Jim, that Fagan is going to play, and don't forget the key role that the special teams will play in tonight's ball game.
Again, we got to talk about the players again. We don't know who's going to win, but as Jimmy Johnson has said, Miami has got great respect for the skill players of Notre Dame. And let's start at the beginning with the quarterback. Now we understand that we're not going to be able to, at this moment, show you our highlights of those players, but we can talk about Steve Berline, and we'll talk about the fact not how he plays, because we know he plays very well, but the fact that Steve Berline was very vocal at the outset here, Ed, that he has no love for Miami, nor does the Notre Dame team, and they put it, it's in the papers here, it's on television.
Evidently there's a lot of bad blood at the end of that ball game. The Miami parents apparently were doing a lot of talking. Notre Dame players reacting heavily against it. They're fired up this evening.
Now, would you, as a head coach of a college or pro football team, like to see your players engaged in this kind of public controversy about the team you're about to play, or does that benefit the other team?
You like to keep it in the locker room. You like to keep it within yourself because you like to have your team come out fired up. Comes out the other way, you're never quite sure how the players are going to react to that, Jim.
All right, we're not going to be able to show you, as we said, the Notre Dame stars, but we can show you what is going on in passing in the United States today. And you'll look down the list and you will see that Berline, with the best passing at Notre Dame since Joe Montana in 1977, is ranked 7th in the country. Bernie Kosar, an outstanding freshman last year, red-shirted freshman to be sure, is a sophomore this year, and he is down at 22nd. He has had some outstanding years and games in his brief career, 3 300-yard games, as we said, and he wears the number 20 because when they suited him up as a young high schooler, they threw him a jersey and it was number 20, and he just never got rid of it. The Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, sorry we can't show you the players in person, but you will see a lot of them. They're down on the field, and the 59,075 fans are here. And ladies and gentlemen, it is a game of controversy. It is a game where they say, pick 'em. And we'll come back with the opening kickoff, Miami-Notre Dame, in a moment. Out in the night, under lights. They're not permanent lights, they're temporary lights. We will see a nighttime ball game between Notre Dame, which is 3-1 on the year, and Miami, which is 3-2. There's Jimmy Johnson. Can you believe this is October the 6th, and this is the 6th game that he has coached in already at Miami?
Well, it's extremely unusual. At the end of September, they're halfway through their schedule. And I'm sure he's a little bit concerned about that because they're going to have some time off during the rest of the season. But they're 4-2. They need to win this evening, Jim.
And Jerry Faust's squad feels the same way. They feel they got some luck in the Irish last week when the Missouri field goal in the last seconds missed, and Notre Dame came away with a 16-14 win. After losing to Purdue, which knocked off Ohio State today, Notre Dame has taken Michigan State, which beat Michigan today, Colorado, and Missouri. Jerry Faust, out of high school in Cincinnati, his 4th year, brought a great recruiting class here. It has not done what many expected, but this may be the year for Jerry Faust. His team hopes so, and that is why Ed and I say this could be a pivotal game. Miami to kick off and Notre Dame to receive.
A win for Jerry Faust this evening, Jim, could put him over the hump and get the monkey that's been on his back for quite a while and put him on the way to the winning tradition they've had here at Notre Dame.
And the kicker will be Mark Seelig, as Greg Cox has won some ball games for them, has been left home because he missed a meeting. He will not be kicking. The man in your picture there is Alonzo Jefferson, one of the 2 men back, along with Hiawatha Francisco, who is number 33. As we said, rain is expected, 70% chance. Let's hope it holds up, because we're sure we've got a fine ball game. Our referee, James Garvey, holding the players for the moment. So we'll give you the chance to say that Tom Rose is our umpire. The headlinesman is Howard Eckert. Joe Pipkin is the line judge. The field judge is James Grabowski, and the back judge is Ted Ruda. And there is Seelig still being held by Garvey, but now he is told, go ahead and kick off. Bad blood between the 2 teams, but a good game in sight. This is headed toward Francisco, who is at the 1. To the 10 and out near the 15 and dragged down. As he crosses the 15-yard line, dragged down by Staffier. A reserve running back. Here comes Burline, number 7, hitting on 66% of his passes. His running backs, All-American Alan Pinkett, number 20, and Chris Smith, 32, or Mark Brooks, 35, will be the fullback. Joe Howard scheduled to start tonight for the first time since the Purdue game, number 24, split end. Milt Jackson, number 6, the flanker, and Mark Brivaro, the big tight end, 82. Durga Perino, the guard, Scanlon Askin, or I should say the tackles, Scanlon Askin, the guards, and Kelly at center. There's Burline to throw on first down, and with a lot of time. Burline can run if he wants, gets the ball away, and it is dropped by Brivaro. And it is 2nd down. Miami tonight will have Winston Moss, 92, Derwin Jones, 86, Willie Lee Broughton, 80, Kevin Fagan, he's a good pass rusher, 95, and Julio Cortez, 99, starting along their front 5. John McVay, 93, Bruce Fleming, 58, the linebackers, Reggie Sutton, number 1, Tolbert Bain, number 18, the corners, Ken Calhoun, 2, and Darrell Fullington, the outstanding freshman, number 19, the safeties. It is 2nd down and 10. Tim Brown is now checked in. Howard is not there as split end. Brown's number is 81, a freshman out of Dallas. And now the fullback, and that is Mark Brooks. And Brooks is hit immediately by John McVay, number 93, the junior out of Miami. After a short gain, it'll be 3rd down and nearly 10 to go from the 19-yard line.
Well, they had the opportunity on first down, Jim. He sprinted out there, threw the ball just a little bit behind Bavaro. 2nd down and long. They ran the ball, made nothing on that. This is a key 3rd down play here early in the ballgame.
Burline looks a lot like Joe Theismann's type as a younger man, talks like Joe Theismann, and wears his number, 7. Burline on 3rd and long, has the time and has his man, and it's a 1st down. Ball caught by Bavaro, and now they say he dropped it. As he went down, he dropped the ball, flagged down in the backfield of Notre Dame, could be holding, and that's what it is, and they'll probably refuse that and get the ball. There's been a strong wind blowing. It is blowing into the face of the Notre Dame team. And now Mike Viracola, the graduate student punter, comes out. Going deep is Brett Perriman, a young freshman out of Miami, who's averaging better than 9 yards per return. Well, Notre Dame unable to move on its first series. As a matter of fact, they didn't pick up any yardage at all on 2 pass plays and 1 running play. Here, Cola. Oh, bad punt off the side of his foot and out of bounds, does not even reach midfield. That is a punt of only about 17 yards. Tonight's game is brought to you by Chevrolet, with the technology, the performance, the style, the innovation, the quality and value that make up today's Chevrolet. Tonight's game brought to you by Chevrolet, with the technology, the performance, the style, the innovation, the quality and value that make up today's Chevrolet. Bernie Kosar, number 20. Warren Williams, 24. Alonzo Highsmith, 30. Their running backs, Eddie Brown, 40. Stanley Shakespeare, number 6, the wide receivers. Ball at the 46-yard line, and that is Highsmith, and he gets inside the 45-yard line. Verticelli, Heffernan, Moore, Ward, and Sinclair scheduled to start, but Heffernan will start at center, and Rucosi will take over for him. Now looking at Notre Dame, with all their injuries, Mike Gann, 78, Mike Griffin, 94, Wally Klein, 96, your front three, Banks, 56, Kowaleski, 49, McCabe, 45, Golick, 55, the linebackers, Troy Wilson, 12, Pat Ballard's 40, the corners, Joe Johnson, the veteran, 27, Steve Lawrence, 23, are the safeties. Second down and 6 to go from the 42. Kosar, they're protecting him well, and he's got his tight end, Willie Smith. And Smith is inside the 40-yard line and knocked down there by Mike Kowaleski, number 49. It'll be second down and short. About a yard and a half to go for the first down.
Well, interesting enough, Jim, on that second down situation, Notre Dame substituted. They took McCabe out of the ball game. They put in Haywood and Francisco, working with 6 defensive backs. Now they switch back to their regular defensive setup for the short yardage.
And let's check that. That's third down, of course, and several yards to go. Shakespeare left and Eddie Brown to the right. And here's Warren Williams getting a surprise start, and he's got the first down and more down to the 25-yard line. Warren Williams, a freshman out of Fort Myers, Florida, 6 feet tall, 200 pounds, a surprise starter over Darrell Oliver, picks up the first down.
They ran that play back to the short side of the field, and Notre Dame failed to have any force come up. That's why that play was so successful. The cornerback went off with the receiver, no force.
And now we see DiBernardo coming in a linebacker spot. Golick is coming out, and Francisco, another safety, comes in. So they take out 2 linebackers, put in 1 linebacker and a safety. Looks like Williams is a little confused. The backfield, first down from 25. No score. And there's Warren Williams, same play. They're going to try it again. And Williams coughs up the football, and it is recovered by Steve Lawrence of Notre Dame down at the 15. The freshman fumbles after being hit by Mike Griffin. And Steve Lawrence picks it up.
Well, that's one of the things that Jimmy Johnson was very concerned about, the turnover aspect of it. Here you see him coming off again, running to the short side of the field. Here comes Williams out on the handoff. There's daylight there going against those 6 defensive backs. Good stick in there. There the ball pops out. And you see Lawrence jump on top and recovering the fumble.
Possible score goes by the boards for the Hurricanes of Miami, and it is first down Notre Dame again on their own 15-yard line.
Well, the short punt didn't hurt him. That's the first short punt that young man has had all year.
And now Milt Jackson goes wide to the left. Joe Howard is into the game and comes wide to the right. Your fullback remains Mark Brooks, and Pinkett yet to touch the ball. The All-American is a tailback. First down, Alan Pinkett with the football. Hit by one man. McVeigh gets away from him and picks up a couple of yards. Sutton put him down along with Darrell Fullerton, number 19, yet another freshman. John McVeigh hit him perhaps a yard deep, but he got away.
Well, again, he started to go inside. There wasn't anything inside, so he dips and goes back to the outside. Makes a little bit of yardage here on his own, but watch this Fullington come up, put the stick on him. What a hitter that young freshman is.
Second down and 7 to go. Ball at the 19, no score, 11:48 to go, first quarter. Pinkett set as a flanker to the right. Berline dropped the football. That exchange from center, and he falls on the ball. And in this tense game, Ed.
Yeah, it looks like both teams are a little bit tense right now, Jim. They'll settle down, and there's intense hitting going on out there. That dislike that we talked about, you can see it. Both teams are really pursuing it and going after each other.
Well, Derwin Jones, a freshman, goes out as a defensive tackle, and Jerome Brown, a sophomore of Brooksville, comes in. He's been suffering with an ankle injury, number 98. Third down and long. Over the middle, he's got his man Bavaro, who is backing for the first down, and now goes down at the 31-yard line. And a flag goes down.
Oh, there's that bad blood coming up, Jim. They're going to tax a penalty on this.
And it was Berline who was coming up. I don't know whom they're going to call it on, but Berline, the quarterback, got in the middle of it, number 7.
Great pursuit, though. Miami Hurricanes really went after him.
Let's see how James Garvey and his folks sort this one out. He is talking to Miami.
Well, there may be another penalty back at the line of scrimmage, Jim. We may have a double penalty on this.
All right, now it's up. Offside, Miami. Oh, both penalties on Miami. Now Cortez is jumping, and Jimmy Johnson says, wait a minute, you pointed the other way.
Jimmy Johnson didn't want to see that happen. Here we see Bavaro releasing off the line of scrimmage, untouched. He comes down the middle. Now watch this determination to get extra yardage here. But watch the white jerseys come in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. There comes 9 and 10. There's the penalty when he come in and tried to put his hand down on top of his helmet.
Well, after all, hey, this is a game, and it has just begun. The ball is at the 46-yard line, now first down, and less than 5 minutes had gone by. Actually, only 4 minutes and 6 seconds. There's no score. Ball at the 46, Burline on first down. Burline fires and has a tight end again, Bavaro again, and he's tackled again by Bruce Fleming, the linebacker, the leading tackler on the team. And Bavaro now has 16 catches, 2 of those tonight, and Notre Dame has moved into Miami territory.
Well, sometimes, Jim, when a guy drops the first one that's thrown to him, he gets mad. Bavaro has that ability. He's reading the zone coverage, settles between the two linebackers, catches it, covers over the ball, fights for extra yardage. A lot of audibleizing by both quarterbacks going on at the line of scrimmage. Miami playing that zone. Bavaro will split it and catch between the linebackers all night long with the continued play zone.
Bavaro's caught 2 passes thus far, but better than 20 yards. Ball at the 39-yard line. Nearly 30 yards, 2 for 28. And here's Brooks, the fullback, and Brooks is dragged down from behind by number 98, Jerome Brown, who just came in. Another flag is down, and they may go back the other way against Notre Dame for possible holding. Now Larry Williams, who has been out hurt, is coming in at right or strong guard. He's an All-American, a senior, and he will replace Askin.
Well, there's a replay. There was a holding penalty thrown in there, and I think that the umpire may have seen that first move, but when the hand came out and wrapped around it and called that. And I would imagine the early part of this ball game, Jim, will see him call it very close. They don't want to let this game get out of hand. As you can see from the intense action, there is bad blood down in that football field.
Ball at the 49-yard line. 10-12 to go. The words of Steve Burline, and he said he was speaking for his teammates, and I'm sure he was. A big story in the Chicago newspaper as well as South Bend newspaper. Looking back at last year's 20-0 win by Miami. First and 20. Burline gets it out across the way to Joe Howard, and Howard is wrestled down by Darrell Fullington. Well, freshman free safety.
Well, again, Jim, it's very interesting the chess that's going on here right now. Burline audible and into that play at the line of scrimmage, checking the defense. Both teams are running very close to 25-second clock, but they're working a lot at the line of scrimmage.
Second down and still better than 10 to go. 2nd and 14. Burline is 3 for 5 thus far and 34 yards. No one has come close to scoring, although Warren Williams of Miami fumbled the ball away at the Notre Dame 15. Pinkett only touched the ball once today. The man in motion. He was a leading receiver last year. Burline gets the ball across, and it is intercepted. Intercepted by Julio Cortez, his 2nd interception of the year. They list him as a defensive end, but he's an outside linebacker and dropped off into the flow and picked the pass off.
Well, this time as Burline goes back to pass, he's looking out to his left. They're still playing in that zone coverage. He's looking out to his left. Now, as he comes back, the linebacker Cortez is drifted right back into that area. He was going with the flow of his eyes and moved right in front of Mark Bavaro.
No score, 9 minutes, 9 seconds to go, and a wild, wild first quarter. Here comes Stanley Shakespeare wide to the left. Eddie Brown is to the right. Kozar has not gotten the ball to either of them yet. They'll try Warren Williams coming this side again, but this time it's not going to work nearly as well, is it? Not nearly as well. First man to hit him was Mike Griffin, number 94, coming down the line of scrimmage.
Well, I would think both teams are going to have difficulty running the ball. I think the running game may open up if either team establishes the passing game in the early going, Jim.
There's Burline on the phone upstairs to the coaches. The ball is at the 36-yard line. 2nd down, 11 for Miami. Kozar sets it up over here, has Highsmith, steps around one man, but there are too many to step around, and down he goes. That is Mike Golick and Mike Gann who made the stop, and that's another loss on the play, and now it'll be third down and about 15 yards.
Well, that was a great play in there, though. The linebacker was moving around, jumping around, trying to give him a different look. Was jockeying around for position and reacted to that so-called read screen. He looked downfield, no one there, came off to the swing move.
From the 31-yard line. Shakespeare wide to the right. Eddie Brown on the short side. Kozar checking off at the line of scrimmage. Has some time, gets it out across the way. Highsmith is there and is hit immediately by Joe Johnson. And they'll have to kick it back to Notre Dame. And there's a flag down in the backfield. Holding will be called against Miami. But again, I believe that they will take the football.
I'm sure they'll turn that penalty down, but a lot of things going on out there. And they took Golick that time, put him in a down position, made it almost look like a four-man defensive line. Then he jumped up and moved out. They were really trying to move the linebackers around to give Kozar some false reads. Watch what's going on downfield here now. Take a look at the content. People, these players don't like each other on these teams. Look at this hit. Look at that swing back there. Very interesting.
That is Ballard. Interesting. Eddie Brown, number 40, and Ballard's number 40 of Notre Dame.
This game is not being played in short pants this evening, Jim.
And now Rick Tootin to kick the ball away. The deepest man is Troy Wilson. The up man is Bill Howard. And Tootin has what wind is at the moment behind his back. 9 men up front for Notre Dame. Gets the ball away, and it's partially blocked. And it's kicked out of the air, and down it goes on about the 40-yard line. Looked like Mike Haywood, number 1, a cornerback, came in to block the ball. And yet another big play. No score. Wild first quarter. Thing, as we just sit here talking to you for the moment, that we can think of is that Notre Dame got the ball and fumbled it back. We've not gotten any explanation at all from James Garvey, the referee, but the fact is Notre Dame does not have the ball. Miami does. First down on its own 41-yard line.
The only possible way they could have ruled that Miami's ball was if they say that after the punt was blocked, of course, it crossed the line of scrimmage. Did not go enough for the first down, but they must have said Notre Dame recovered it and then fumbled it back to them.
Ian Sinclair's come in for the first time. He'll play center now with Heffernan moving to tackle. Kozar back on first down. Fans still booing. Down and out across the way. That is Shakespeare, who does not get the ball. And with him is Troy Wilson, number 12 of Notre Dame. It is second down and 10. We have had fumbles, blocked kicks.
We've got a ball game.
Short punts.
Jim. I think we're going to see a little bit of everything. Both teams, coaches said it wasn't that important, but they're going after this was everything.
We've had everything except a score. There is no score.
You see Kozar, watch him throw off that front foot, just like a pitcher. The pressure against that front foot gets it to the outside, but his feet was out of bounds. Good call by the official.
I'm just over the 40, second down and 10. And still on the officials for that call. Looks like they're setting up a screen, doesn't it? But no screen is developing, and now Kozar gets the ball away. And there's Woody Smith, his tight end, who will be run out of bounds after picking up the first down as he moves into Notre Dame territory. Mike Gann peeled back, a defensive tackle, and ran Willie Smith out of bounds. And for Smith, that's his 23rd catch of the year.
Well, this is the kind of play that kind of drives you crazy, Coach. He's going back. They won a screen. Notre Dame defensively played it very well. He's coming out looking for the screen. Now he starts scrambling, and he finds Smith, who was retained as a blocker, just drifts out. No one there. Big yardage gaining downfield.
The running backs, Alonzo Highsmith, number 30, and Darrell Oliver, who did not start, 37. Both wide receivers to the left on first down at the 41 of Notre Dame. There is Oliver, looking for somewhere to go and not going much of anywhere, as Mike Kowaleski, number 49, the sophomore, out of Newcastle, Indiana, came up to put him down. Yes, it is perplexing, isn't it? Things have happened on the field that even Jerry Faust does not understand, even after James Garvey came over to explain it to him.
Well, I think sometimes a situation like that, the officials or the PA announcer ought to announce what happened to keep the crowd from being perplexed about it, Jim.
I tell you what, somebody ought to tell us.
It had to be that. That's the only ruling it possibly could have been, that they recovered it and then fumbled it after they recovered it.
Ball on the 38-yard line, 2nd down, 7 to go. No score, late first quarter. Kozar under some pressure, throws low across the way, and Highsmith can't hang on to the ball. Troy Wilson was right with him. And now it is 3rd down and long. Closest either team has gotten. After a bad punt, Miami took the ball to the 15, and the person of freshman Warren Williams, who fumbled it away, and Steve Lawrence recovered for Notre Dame.
I would think that right now the Notre Dame defense Kozar just a little bit off his regular pace. They're shifting people in and out, doing a lot of different things, trying to disguise their coverage. He will settle down eventually.
Third and 7. And they give the ball to Oliver. He's not going anywhere. It's 4th down. Snowed under. And Kozar has hit Shakespeare once and Woody Smith. But Eddie Brown hasn't gotten a look-see yet. And the best run has been to the left side of the Miami offensive line when Warren Williams picked up a couple of big gains before fumbling the ball earlier in this quarter.
Well, they want to go to Eddie Brown, but they're double covering him. In the 3rd down situation, they probably felt like maybe they could run that running play and break it up the middle. A long field goal attempt here.
Yes, it'll be a 53 yards by Mark Seelig. Remember, Greg Cox has been left behind. He missed a meeting, and he has won some games for them, this freshman. Well, Seelig will do everything, and now we'll try one from 53 yards away, and that's not going to get anywhere close to going through the uprights.
Well, if you'd made that, Jimmy, this is the first one he's kicked in collegiate ball.
Still no score, first quarter. Notre Dame has won 13 of the 17. There's been one tie, and the last line on your screen is the big one as far as many people are concerned. Miami has never won here. From the 36, here comes Alan Pinkett, the All-American, and that's one of his better runs of the season as he goes about 11 yards with Bavaro throwing the block in front of him before Darrell Fullerton put him down. And they'll move the sticks. That's a first down.
One thing you can rest assured of, Jim, whenever you see a good sweep play, that tight end will have done an outstanding job of making the block. Whenever you get that outside linebacker backed off the line of scrimmage, that they have a chance to make that sweep go.
Joe Howard and Milt Jackson both go left. And now it is Chris Smith who is the fullback. It is Pinkett carrying the ball, and wow, does he get net head on by Bruce Fleming at the 50-yard line. 2nd down and long. I'm working with Ed Biles tonight, former head coach of Xavier University and the Houston Oilers. And Ed, of course, we're glad to have you here as an old friend and the rest of it. But I'd like to pass along the fact that Paul McGuire, who usually sits right here, is being honored. And I told a lot of people in the Notre Dame press box as one of the all-time greats, the 25th silver anniversary team of the Buffalo Bills of the National Football League. And more than one said, at what position? No, but our congratulations to Paul. He was picked as their best punter of their 25-year history.
You imagine the lies that are going on up there in Buffalo right now?
2nd down. A long 8 to go, and Smith is not going anywhere, is he? That was Victor Morris, number 90, a sophomore to Deerfield Beach. He was hanging on to him along with Willie Lee Broughton, the middle guard.
Well, to have the running game go, you have to control the line of scrimmage and watch the defensive line fire out. Good job by the nose guard in there. He just did an exceptional job of standing. Kelly, who's a great center up, holding his ground. That's what made that play not go. Nose guards play against the offensive center.
No score. 3rd and 6 for Miami on the 48, or I should say for Notre Dame on the 48 of Miami. 3:30 to go in the first quarter. Berline with time, fires, and on his knees, making the catch. Joe Howard, his first catch since the Purdue ball game. Been bothered with a hamstring muscle, this senior out of Clinton, Maryland, but makes the good catch there.
Well, here you see Joe Howard go down. Now, once again, the Hurricanes are playing zone coverage. You can see him settle down in between the two backers, catch the ball low on his knee and get hit. Look at him and come in, putting those helmets on Joe Howard.
Joe Howard's one of those rare men. He plays varsity football and basketball here at Notre Dame.
They call him Small Wonder instead of Boy Wonder, huh?
There's a up man, the fullback Smith, and he gets inside the 35-yard line with Winston Moss hanging on. A pickup of about 4, 2nd down and 6.
That's a great relationship between Charles Smith and Mark Crooks, both of them from Cincinnati, Ohio, and visited with them on the sidelines there yesterday. They legitimately like each other, even though they're splitting playing time.
You do know that Notre Dame, well, all teams want to do, but Notre Dame more than usual wants to establish a running game that's been very poor for them this year. Here's Pinkett, and down he goes. Fine play made on the far sideline there by Ken Calhoun, the strong safety forcing it, and Calhoun is going to take himself out, I think. He got a good bump in the shoulder and trots off the field. And so he'll be replaced by Selwyn Brown, a freshman.
Well, they had the start of a good play here because Bavaro really drove Cortez way back off the line of scrimmage, but the rest of the pursuit of the Hurricanes got the job done. Bavaro had Cortez about 9 yards backed off the line of scrimmage.
Sutton and Bain are the cornerbacks now, but Fullington and Selwyn Brown are the safeties. And that's Selwyn Brown running around in the backfield. He missed an assignment, but now he's out here on his man, Joe Howard. And on 3rd down, here's Burline in trouble, and he's going to be caught from behind by Jerome Brown, the sophomore, number 98, and is sacked.
Well, I believe he saved it. Looked like the official let him get away with that. It was almost like a two-handed shovel pass in basketball, Jim. He got back there.
Nevertheless, it's 4th down.
As he was going down, it will be 4th down. Have to make a decision here whether you want to punt the ball or go for the field goal.
Well, we can see Vericola coming in, and he is the punter. All at the 35-yard line, and let's see what the senior now. Time has been called as a man is on the field getting an extra football, and now he's gone off. Back very quickly goes Perriman. Now some confusion now, and the Miami. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8. They don't have enough men on the field.
9 men. They'll have 9 men on the field. They don't know where
Here comes a 10th man. They don't know where to go.
But it really doesn't make any difference in this situation because he's either going to put it in the end zone.
He's going to put it in the end zone. It's in the end zone, will come out of the 20. They only had 9 men on the field. Many times I've seen 10 or 12, but seldom have I seen just 9 men on the field.
But I think they were sure where they was going to go for the field goal. Vericola also is the holder.
1:45 to go in the first quarter at Notre Dame Stadium, Notre Dame, Indiana. And really, aside from an aborted field goal, no one has come close to scoring. There is no score. And we'll come back to Notre Dame Stadium after these messages. Greg Dingens, the freshman out of Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, number 92, is making his first appearance after being out injured. He and Klein and Kiernan are the front 3 for Notre Dame. First down, Miami, no score. They're in their own 20-yard line. And Kozar to throw on first down. Has the time, but does he have a receiver? We think so, and there's Shakespeare. He drops the ball at the 42. And for Stanley Shakespeare, with those great roots and great hands, that's unusual.
Well, that's the thing that Notre Dame is concerned about, getting pressure on him. Kozar went back, had plenty of time. He had time to look for Smith, who ran all the way on a crossing route, came off of that because Notre Dame had him covered, then went downfield to Shakespeare with the ball. And if he has that much time, eventually he's going to find those people that are open and get the completions, Jim.
Shakespeare to the right this time, and they haven't tried to hit Eddie Brown yet. Maybe they've looked to him, but they haven't thrown to him. He's to the left. 5 defensive backs, Kozar back. Anderson pressure this time, sets up the screen, gets it out there to Bratton, and Bratton just barely gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that is all. Melvin Bratton, the freshman out of Miami, took the screen, but Joe Johnson led the way to put him down, and now it is 3rd down and about 9 from the 21.
One of the things that's important when you're trying to run a screen pass is for that back to set up. Look at the block he does, holds in there, holds again, now slides out. And Kozar does a great job of setting up, getting the ball to him. But Notre Dame's pursuit, excellent job of recovering and making the tackle, holding for no gain.
3rd and long. Smith to the right, Shakespeare to the left. Last minute of the first quarter. Kozar looking out, and the ball is no good. Intended downfield. But Darrell Oliver, and broken up by Troy Wilson.
Oh, the hit is going on out there. He throws into double coverage this time, but watch the hit. Under pressure, gets it up in the air, but watch the hit that we get on Oliver right at the end of the play coming into here. Oh, look at that hit. He may have a headache in the morning, Jim.
Rick Tootin to kick the ball away. Again, he has the wind behind him, and Troy Wilson is the man deep standing on his own 35-yard line. Last time he was blocked, and they got 9 men up front again, Notre Dame. Nobody touched it. Unless he gets a great bounce, it's not going to be too good. As the ball goes, line of scrimmage is at 21. They get it back at the 45. No return. Next week, Paul McGuire and I will be down at Tiger Stadium, not the baseball stadium in Detroit, but Tiger Stadium, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Vanderbilt did not play this afternoon. They're playing Tulane tonight. They're highly favored. They're undefeated at the moment, and LSU has the week off. And LSU has been tied but not defeated. And that's our game at 7:30 Eastern time next week, in which we dip into the Southeastern Conference. No score in this game. 39 seconds to go, first quarter. Ball at the 45. Notre Dame's got it. Up, goal line trips, but still has plenty of time, and throws it right to number 1, Reggie Sutton. And Sutton's got it deep in the territory of Notre Dame before Tom Durger. The tackle took him out of bounds, and as the first quarter began, so shall it end.
Well, Jim, he just stumbled and got himself out of time. They were open. I think he panicked a little bit and threw that ball because he was wide open behind him. If he'd gotten that ball up in the air, they may have had a touchdown. Ball was underthrown, and of course that's what happens when you throw the ball too short.
2 interceptions now by Miami of Berline's passes. First down, they've got the ball at the 43 of Notre Dame. Those are time this time. And as a man coming back to the ball was Shakespeare, and Howard is the man, I should say Johnson is the man right on top of him, but he gets some help along the way from Kovaleski. And DiBernardo, an outside linebacker.
And that's probably going to be the last play of the first quarter, Jim.
I'm running down. It is the last play of the first quarter. No score, but I'll tell you what, it's been a memorable first quarter. Absolutely no score. Jim Simpson, Ed Biles, Notre Dame Stadium. We begin the second quarter. There's no score. Second down 5 for Miami on the 37 of Notre Dame. Five defensive backs for Notre Dame. Whoops, Darrell Oliver moved, and no matter what happens here, there is a flag on the play, and DiBernardo has a hold of Bernie Kosar, and I would imagine that they'll take the play because it'll use up a down and make it third down and about 5. That was Darrell Oliver, the sophomore out of Palatka, who moved, and they caught it.
Well, there's the first quarter stats, Jim. Of course, time of possession almost even. Very little look at the first quarter. Basically, the first quarter was wrapped up with fumble, a couple interceptions, a block punt, and some major penalties. We almost had a game full of things in the first quarter, but no score.
Well, I do declare, as they say, Ed, they're not taking it down to make it third and about 6. They take the penalty and make it second down and about 10.
Of course, they're doing a lot of audible up the line of scrimmage, and the defensive secondary is really jockeying around for Notre Dame now.
Ball is on the 42-yard line, but they get it down here, and they're in Notre Dame territory. And Kosar is dangerous at any time. Fires the ball and has Eddie Brown for the first time. And look at the speed on Eddie Brown. He's very close to a first down at the 32-yard line. And a flag goes down as they're on top of Eddie Brown. And this could be against the Irish. You've already had an unnecessary roughness penalty against Miami. And maybe we'll get another one against Miami. And I tell you, if everything hasn't happened until now, we can say it has begun to rain. They told us it would, and it has started to rain. Well, apparently this is going to be against Miami, Ed.
Well, he came in there a little bit late. The whistle had blown, and extremely anxious. Came in there, made a real late block at the end of the play, and I believe that's what the officials called.
Dead ball foul.
They'll lose it down. Well, going to give them the first down.
They'll give them, I believe, the first down, and then make it 1st and 20 after they move it back.
Look at the inline play that's going on here now. Well, that was almost a good takedown in there rather than a good block on that replay we had there.
So that's what they're doing. They gave them the first down at the 32. Now they take 15 yards off that and take it back to the 47 and call it 1st down and 25. Melvin Bratton comes into the Miami backfield. Well, that's 30 yards on just two penalties of the same kind: unnecessary roughness or unsportsmanlike conduct against Miami.
Think these teams are ready for each other tonight, Jim?
Shakespeare goes to the left. Smith comes out to the right. Bratton, your fullback, remember. Oh, look at that, how slippery it is. Oliver goes down. Nobody touches him. And now there's a little business between Alvin Ward, the right guard, the senior. He and Notre Dame. However, no flag thrown this time. But it is 1st down at about 27.
Now they're really jockeying and using all their people this evening, as linebackers and defensive backs, moving them in and out. And I think at this point they've been very effective with it.
After all of this, the ball has been moved back to the 49-yard line. Their original line of scrimmage after Brown caught the ball is at the 32. It is 2nd down. They'll run the ball. There goes Dale Oliver. Oliver's going to get some of them back, and Ballage runs him out of bounds across the way at about the 35-yard line, but they still have to get to the 22 to pick up the 1st down. But it's still 3rd and long.
Watch the line play here. Now, one of the things that sometimes happens is the defensive lineman so anxious to rush, comes upfield, he cut underneath it and got back to the outside on that play. Of course, they're trying to put the pass rush on. Good call by the Miami coaches.
They've spotted the ball at the 37, so it is exactly 3rd down and 15 to go. No score early 2nd quarter. It's a ball game. Oliver flanked to the left. Ozar looking to throw. Now drills the ball, caught by Eddie Brown, and I believe he's got the 1st down at the 20-yard line.
Well, once again, he had plenty of time, Jim. They only rushed 3. They dropped everybody back. When you give Bernie Kosar time to drift around like that, he'll find somebody open downfield. There you see Brown going downfield. There you see this Notre Dame settling the zone coverage. Now he's covered, and all this while Kosar is scrambling around. Now watch him move back to there and settle down in between the linebackers and the secondary.
Well, one of the reasons why coaches go great. 3rd and 15. All of a sudden, it's 1st down at the 20. And here's Highsmith back in the ball game, and he's got 5, 6, 7, 10 yards down the sideline, knocked out of bounds. They're spotted at about the 8-yard line. That's another 1st down for Miami, and this is the first and goal situation or real threat we've had in the ball game.
One of the key things is your receivers blocking downfield. Watch Brown come off and throw a block. Stay with this block against Ballage downfield. Keeps the force from getting there. And you don't get force when you're running outside. That good back has a chance to make yardage.
They take out Dingens and bring in 6'8", 280-pound Wally Klein, number 96 in the defensive line of Notre Dame. 1st and goal to go for Miami. Oliver and Highsmith, the setback. And here's Oliver, and he slips and is tackled as he hits the line of scrimmage.
Well, there just was nothing there, no room for him to go. He was trying to slide down, looking for a spot to go, but they did have good force on that play. Notre Dame defensive linebackers, linemen were just all sliding, no place for him to go.
Right at the tackle to Mike Golick, whose brother Bob played here, was an All-American, now in the NFL with the Cleveland Browns. As a matter of fact, the Golick family is quite a football family. Their father played for 7 years in the Canadian Football League. Eddie Brown goes to the left and Shakespeare to the right on 2nd and goal to go from the 7-yard line. Ozar, and straight ahead is Oliver, twisting inside the 5-yard line. It'll be 3rd and goal to go. Put the ball inside the 4. 3rd and goal to go. Kovaleski led the tacklers, along with John McCabe, the 2 inside linebackers.
Well, again, the audible to this running play, and you can see the guard pulling, trying to slide around. He steps up, cuts it, tries to get to the outside, finds a little bit of daylight. Again, look at the pursuit of the Notre Dame defense, a number of players in on the tackle.
There haven't been opportunities like this, and Miami is going to take time out to see what they must do. Second quarter, no score, Notre Dame. Tonight's game is brought to you by Chevrolet, with the technology, the performance, the style, the innovation, the quality and value that make up today's Chevrolet. Third down, goal to go. The ball just inside the 4. Kozar has his instructions and is back.
Well, it's a key play, Jim. Third down. If the Irish hold it to a field goal, it would be a good job for them. If Miami goes in the score, they've got the early lead. That could be important. Key play.
Down here against Florida, they flip the ball to Eddie Brown. But Woody Smith has split about 3 yards on the left side of the tight end. Let's see what they do. They're looking out there. Oh, look at this. Highsmith, touchdown. Out of the backfield, nobody to cover. By the time Joe Johnson came up, the strong safety, Highsmith, was already barreling in from the 2-yard line. And it is 6-0 Miami.
One of the things that sometimes happen when you're changing your defenses a lot is that someone misses an assignment. And I'm sure there was a little blown assignment, possibly by a linebacker. Of course, Johnson looks like he might have been the guy who comes up late. Sometimes gets the blame, but it could have been someone else's responsibility.
Highsmith has caught his first touchdown pass of the year, his 17th catch of the year. And now Seelig will, filling in for Greg Cox, left behind, remember, will attempt the extra point, and he's got it. So 11:33 to go, and after all that has happened here at Notre Dame Stadium, Notre Dame, Indiana, someone has finally scored. Miami 7, Notre Dame nothing. Notre Dame playing a night game tonight, but next Saturday it'll be on ESPN. They start at noon Eastern Daylight Time. That's an early morning, not an early morning start, but quite a start before noon here, which, because Notre Dame, Indiana is always on standard time. Raining. They said 70% chance, and it is raining, and Miami does lead 7-0, and Seelig will kick off as people begin to take shelter. It is Jefferson and Francisco, the deep men, and Seelig to kick off. And now they're running everybody over to this side. Now, here they come, and the ball is kicked short. And it's taken by one of the up men on a fair catch at the 24-yard line. And go back in time. How many times have you seen a fair catch on a kickoff? It has happened.
Here's a shot of the touchdown pass again with Kosar going back. Receiver coming out just being wide open. Either had to be the linebacker or the safety man who didn't come up and make that play.
Berline described by his coach Jerry Faust, who firmly believes it, and Steve has been having some great games, has been intercepted twice, and has not taken his ball club anywhere. Now he'll try to get him going. Berline throws back to Pinkett, and Pinkett is knocked down. Good play by Bruce Fleming, the inside linebacker, the junior out of Monaca, Pennsylvania, number 58.
Jim, going back to that kickoff, there's an indication of how the coaches are thinking about that new rule change. You got a long kicker, they don't want to put it in the end zone or out of the end zone, so there was a little bit of strategy of kind of a sky kick where they knew that they could get down and get coverage on it.
Bill Jackson goes wide to the right, Joe Howard to the left. Pinkett and Brooks are your setbacks. Second down 10. Pinkett's got a hold, and Pinkett's got the first down, and Pinkett's across the 40-yard line. His second good run of the night. Reggie Sutton put him down along with Selwyn Brown.
Well, Jim, you can hear him audible that all the way up here. He gave a red 36, and he turned around and handed the ball to Pinkett, going to the 6-hole, which is the off-tackle hole. Shows some moves in there. When he gets out in the open field, he's dangerous. Breaks a tackle. Now it takes 2 of them to bring him down.
Pinkett hasn't run for as much as 70 yards in a game thus far this year, but he's got 35 already. And the up man, Brooks, does not go very far at all, as Joe Colbrand, who fills in on both sides of that defensive line for Miami, out of Merritt Island, makes the stop. Number 48. That'll be second down and 8.
The thing Notre Dame would like to see happen now, Coach Faust and his coaching staff, is for them to come back and counteract and put points on the board.
10-10 to go in the first half. It's 7-0 Miami. Notre Dame second down 8 from their own 43. Out of 59,075, a little quiet at the moment. Brooks almost jumped, but no flags. Now a flag goes down. Berline carries the ball, and he is down as he gets out near midfield. No flag on the immediate jump And at this moment, Bruce Fleming is limping off the field. Their good inside linebacker, and he'll be replaced by George Myra Jr.
Bruce Fleming made a great comment, Jimmy, about talking about special teams.
Now the flag has been thrown, and the penalty is against Miami. There's Fleming. He is their leading tackler.
He said on special teams, all you have to do is stay in your lanes and kill somebody.
Well, he has taken a shot himself. Jerry Faust looking on. He's won 9 and lost 8 in games here at Notre Dame. Offside. Well, it was a late call, but it was the call as we suggested.
I'm sure the official had to think about it to make sure he was making the correct call. You'd rather have an official take his time and think about it, even though it might be a late flag, especially if it's a proper call.
Second down and short, about 2 yards to go. Howard to the right, and Jackson to the left. Pinkett trying for the first down, and he may have it. George Myra Jr. making the stop. George built a little bit differently than his father was, the great passer at Miami. He is 225 pounds.
Here you can see the inline play that's going on there. The guard fires out, and there comes a trap across. The trapper coming across, makes the trap, opens up the hole for Pinkett.
Now back live, they'll bring in the sticks to see whether or not Pinkett did pick up the first down. They have moved the ball into Miami territory, and they've got the first down. Jimmy Johnson, what a job he did at Oklahoma State, and then to take over from Howard Schnellenberger in May of this year and take over the defending national champions. And thus far, his schedule reads like this: Auburn, Florida, Michigan, Purdue, Florida State that really put it to Miami, and then their easy win over Rice last week in the round. And it's raining here at Notre Dame. First down, Notre Dame at the 49-yard line of Miami. And Berline keeps the ball, gets the ball away to Bavaro, his tight end, who's got the first down, and Bavaro is still struggling, and a flag is down on the other side of the field. A flag is down on this side of the field as Bavaro drags men down to the 30-yard line.
Flag or no flag, Jim, what you saw in that play was not second effort or third effort. That was continuous effort by Mark Bavaro. What an exhibition of strength and power he put on after he caught that football.
And now we see Julio Cortez, a defensive lineman for Miami, who is furious there, number 99, at the results he's hearing. There have been a lot of penalties tonight, many of them against Miami. Let's see if this one is also against Miami. Whoops, personal foul, Notre Dame, personal foul, Miami, forget the whole thing.
Well, you know, I really don't like to see him call personal fouls both ways, Jim. I think the official, someone had to start that, someone had to create that problem. And in my way of thinking, that's sometimes a cop-out from an official standpoint.
It might be, but Miami just loves it.
Well,
instead
sure
of a first
right now,
down, you take that play over again.
No question. They came out on that bootleg play, and Bavaro, on a crossing pattern, he was wide open.
A no play, bring the ball back to the 49-yard line, and it's first down. Steve Berline, the young sophomore out of Fullerton, California, came off the bench in last year's game down at the Orange Bowl, substituting for Blair Keel. Had a great second half, 13 of 23, and the next week he was the starter and has been since. Our score 7-0 midway through the second quarter. Berline, short drop, and then starts carrying the ball and gets inside the 45-yard line.
Berline ran an option play into the short side of the field. He elected to keep the ball and turn up. It looked like late he could have made a pitch. He might have had a big gainer there to Pinkett.
Reggie Ward is checked into the ball game. He's a wide receiver, probably the fastest man on the squad out of Long Beach, California. He's a freshman, caught a 74-yard touchdown pass last week against Missouri. As you see, Ohio State was beaten today. Georgia Tech was beaten today. Michigan was beaten today. Start shuffling those top 20s, would you? In the polls next week. 2nd and 5. Berline, Pinkett. It'll be third down and about 2 as Willie Lee Groton, number 80, comes over to make the stop. BYU will have them on our ESPN schedule later on. Rolled over Colorado State. Nebraska finally got it going after the defeat to Syracuse last week. Took Oklahoma State their first loss. Clemson beat Carolina. They've won 22 in a row at home. Maryland tried for the extra 2 in the last seconds of the ball game, failed on the conversion. Penn State beat them again. I think it's about 26 out of 27 times Penn State has beaten Maryland. UCLA and Stanford, no score thus far. Alonzo Jefferson has now come into the backfield for the first time. He's a quick one, 4.4 speed. He's got the ball, replacing Pinkett, and Cortez is the first man to hit him. He doesn't put him down, but he ran right into number 99, and we can see that Fleming is back in the ball game and helped put him down. And very close to a first down.
There we got a good shot of the line play that's going on. You see the guard pulling, coming up. Good job by the Miami people of getting into the blockers, playing them off. Good pursuit. And I don't believe he got that first down, Jim, as he came out. You can see the pitch back to him. But here comes the secondary people and the linebackers in great pursuit. Cortez in there, 3 other bodies in there.
Well, I tell you, Jerry Faust is making a decision. It's 4th down and about 2 to go. And it looks like he is going to go for the first down with the ball at the 41-yard line. And now, after a little talk on the sidelines, Mike Viracola comes in. That might have been this early in the ball game. 6 minutes to go in the first half. A little chancy.
Well, if they got anything up their sleeve, this might be a good time to do it.
They've got nobody deep. The flag goes down, and they may have taken too much time.
Yeah, they let the clock run down.
And that'll be 4th and 7 instead of 4th and 2.
You know, Jim, you were giving those scores before. I thought Fred Akers made a great comment. He thought that they shouldn't begin making the poll, the top 20, until the middle of the season, when everybody had a chance to see what the football teams were doing rather than what they did last year.
Well, one good friend of mine picked Arizona State as #1 in the nation, and they went out in their first game and got clipped by about 35 points.
And the same way with Miami. Tremendous amount of pressure on them being picked to repeat. At this time of the year, you get a better idea of where the team might be playing.
Well, change a few ideas before this day is over when everybody gets up and sees the scores tomorrow. Now Viracola standing back on his own 40, and Brett Perriman, the freshman, is standing back on his 10. Viracola, and they're going to let this hit inside the 10, and it's going to be down inside the 5, I'm sure. Outstanding job, and Notre Dame is now in the hole, but Notre Dame trails by 7. First down at its own 5.
Jim, Notre Dame has got 73. Wineland, who is normally an offensive tackle, in there playing the nose guard. They've had so many injuries in that defensive line that they've taken an offensive tackle who's lined up at the nose guard position defensively right now.
They also have lost their linebacker, Tony Furjanic, who led the team in tackles. He's out for 5 or 6 weeks. His knee will be in a cast for at least that long. First down from the 5. Kozar from his own end zone puts it up deep. And here's Eddie Brown trying to catch up to it. He does! But he is out of bounds, I believe. They're saying no good. He had run out of bounds right in front of the Notre Dame bench. And Jerry Faust made a great call as he called attention to the officials.
Well, the officials were right on the play. Here we got a good look at it. They shouldn't have missed this because both of them are running down the sidelines. There it comes over his shoulder. Comes down and steps. Well, it's very close. He stepped out of bounds when he caught the ball. It looked like that one leg came down out of bounds. But that's a big play that they're looking for out of Eddie Brown. That 4.4 speed, he showed it there.
Second down from the 5-yard line. Those are just about his own goal line when he unleashed that, but he still had time. He stepped up in the pocket.
Don't you like to see a college team do those kind of things, Jim?
Oh, yeah. There's Brown to the left and Shakespeare to the right. Warren Williams is back in the ball game. He's dangerous, and he's got the ball right now. Williams gets a couple of yards out to about the 8, and that is all. Mike Moore tangling down there with one of the defensive linemen, Mike Gann of Notre Dame.
Well, again, they come back and run that ball on second down. Several times this evening on first down, they put the ball in the air. On second down, they come back and run it, anticipating Notre Dame might be putting a lot of defensive backs in there.
Rick DiBernardo comes in, McCabe comes out at linebacker, and then take out Banks, a linebacker, and put in Hiawatha Francisco, a defensive back. Third down, 8 to go. Kozar, there's Highsmith. Highsmith's got a long way to go. He's not going to get it. Gets out to the 10-yard line before Kovaleski puts him down, number 49, and that is it. They'll have to kick the ball away. And kick the ball in the rain and into the wind. 4.5 minutes to go in the second quarter at 7-0 Miami.
And that's exactly, Jim, why Jerry Faust elected to punt that ball. They put him back up here, and now they're going to get the ball in good field position again, rather than turn it over to Miami upfield if they didn't make it on fourth down.
Rick Tootin to kick the ball away, number 12 to number 12, Troy Wilson. sideways. Look out. He's going to have to run. He's going to take it out for a safety.
Very intelligent play.
Smart play. Notre Dame is happy, but they get a free kick from the 20 at 7-2. That's a nice play. Otherwise, Notre Dame probably would have had the ball on the 1-foot line or something like that, first and goal to go. Score, Miami 7, Notre Dame 2. And when we come back, Miami will have a free kick from its own 20. Some room and not Notre Dame the ball.
Well, the pass was high and out to his right. He realized he couldn't get it off because it would have been blocked. He had good presence of mind to take the safety rather than give the Notre Dame the possible touchdown.
We'll watch it from behind, Tootin, and I remember what one of the officials of Miami told us, Ed, and that is every time we punt or try to, it is an adventure.
It's an adventure. They've had a lot of problems in their kicking game this year, but Tootin showed a lot of poise by making that play.
But on punts tonight, as he now kicks the ball again, they've had one blocked, and they've had to take a safety. And now, here comes Alonzo Jefferson, and Jefferson gets across the 40-yard line to about the 43, where it's first down. They're line 4 of 9.
Well, Jim, this is an awful close play. Here comes the ball down in his hands. There's a good possibility. Remember, the college now, he only has to have 1 foot in bounds when he catches that ball.
And he's got the ball now.
Looks like that left foot was in bounds.
Well,
it's 7-2, and Notre Dame's got great field position.
On their own 43. There's Burline not having a great night, being pursued, and he'll run the ball himself. Oh, my. You don't try to stay in bounds too often when people like that are coming against you, or you don't stay on your feet too often. Burline does go down at the last moment after picking up about 6 yards.
I'm sure the Notre Dame offensive coaches upstairs were yelling, get out of bounds, because he was carrying that ball like a loaf of bread, swinging around. I'm sure they were scared that a hit would come from someplace and he might fumble it. You don't like to see your quarterback do that.
Well, you also want to see a running back turn it upfield, but you don't want to see your quarterback turn it upfield. That could be disaster. Second down and 4 to go. 3:20 left in this half. 7-2 Miami. What hasn't happened in this half? And there goes number 3 Jefferson, and Jefferson's got the first down. Sophomore to West Palm Beach, Florida.
Well, that offensive line came off the ball on that play, Jim. They really just fired out. The wide receivers were split real wide, knowing they were going to run the ball, and on the snap count, that line just exploded and got in the Miami defensive people. That's what Jerry Faust and the offensive line coaches want to see.
We will try to we'll try to check for you on Alan Pinkett. He hasn't been in there, and he has played very well. Alonzo Jefferson has been in there for the last 2 series. There's Jefferson here, gets away from one man, and then down he goes. Jefferson is a sophomore to West Palm Beach who can run the 100 yards in 9.4, at least has done it, and the 200 in under 21 seconds. Second down and 12 to go.
Well, here's our fine defensive tackle, Fagan. Watch him get upfield and force the play. Now, he misses the tackle, but he forced the play by being upfield. Even though he didn't make it, he allows the pursuit to get in there in time to make it for a loss.
I'm looking down right in front of us, the Notre Dame bench, and Pinkett is standing right there, apparently okay, at about the 48-yard line, and as though he wants to go back in. But it is Jefferson who's running the football. Second down now and 12 to go. Here's Burline. Flips it out to his back, Smith. Smith with a hit of steam up has got the first down, and down he goes as Colbert Bain, the freshman out of Miami, upended him, but that's a first down for Chris Smith at the 30-yard line. Mark it at the 29.
Well, they did a great job of setting the screen pass up. You see him go back. The ball gets out to Smith. Now, Smith is a big back, 4.8 speed. Watch him lift those legs going down through. Gets in trouble and just does the somersault going over the top, but he did get the first down. Here he is again, the kick out block there. Now he sees daylight. He tries to turn it on. One man between him and the goal line.
First down. Less than a minute 50 to go in the first half. Goal line trying to get something going, and Jefferson trying to get something going, and nowhere to go. Selwyn Brown, number 32. The freshman who came on when Ken Calhoun took himself out hurt. Came up to make the stop. And Calhoun is not in that defensive secondary. It is Sutton and Brown and Fullington and Bain. So he took himself out. Fleming was out but came back.
Well, all that hitting going on down there, Jim, you're going to see some people without some little aches and pains, but they'll put themselves back in the ball game and get back in there.
Joe Howard wide to the left, and that's the way Burline is looking, but he flips it instead off the hands of Chris Smith. And it's third down.
Well, they flipped that play over. They had great success with the screen to their right. This time they just turned it over, tried to run it to the left, a little bit in the short side of the field. Berline made it a little bit tough for Smith to catch the ball.
Alrighty night in Notre Dame, Indiana. 1:10 to go in the first half. 7-2, Miami. The defending national champions had shut out Notre Dame. First shutout Notre Dame suffered in 5 years last year, but Miami comes up here with the onus on them that they have never won here at Notre Dame. Pinkett has a twisted knee, could come back. Reggie Ward has come in, so they now have 3 wide receivers. Here's Berline on 3rd and long, and he throws it underneath to Jackson, and Jackson does not have the first down. Knocked out of bounds at about the 18-yard line, and that will be a first down. Selwyn Brown took him out. He got across the 20 and down to the 18, and that's enough.
Well, they had 3 wide receivers and the tight end of the ball game. They brought Jackson all the way across the field on a crossing pattern. Berline had the time, found him, he turned it up and made the first down.
Reggie Ward comes out. They put Alonzo Jefferson back in. They're down to 2 wide receivers and 2 running backs. Fighting the clock now, 55 seconds to go, trailing 7-2. First down at the 18, best field position of the night for Notre Dame. Here's Berline. Has time, now running out, and down he goes. Willie Lee Broughton, number 80, and now Berline gets up and throws an arm. And I see no flag at all at the moment. They're calling timeout. Maybe he's just calling for timeout. 7-2, 39 seconds to go, first half. Loss of 7 on the sack of Berline. So it is second down and 17 at the 26. Steve Berline now 6 of 12 for 72 yards. Been intercepted twice. Kozar's 10 of 15 for 59 yards, and the only touchdown of the game. Tim Brown is back in as yet another wide receiver. And Berline's got time and throws underneath again. That is Tim Brown. Brown looking for the first down and may have it inside the 10-yard line. They keep the clock running down to 25 seconds. Now time has been called at 25 even. And Berline comes out.
Well, he's coming over to get the play. Once again, they had that crossing pattern going, but they brought him all the way across the field. Was wide open.
Well, remember at halftime, we'll be going back to ESPN Sports Center. Complete update on all the scores and highlights. And what a bunch of upsets today. Georgia Tech, Ohio State got bumped. At Sports Center coming up at halftime, you'll hear all. Michigan got bumped by their cross-state rival Michigan State that had lost 3 in a row before today. They're measuring now as we look at Berline down along the sidelines to see whether or not they get a first down. Time is really their problem, and they do not have the first down. They've got 25 seconds to go, and what Steve does not want to do is to put the ball up for grabs as he has done on 2 occasions thus far tonight.
Well, this is a tough situation. They've got third down in a short yard. They only have 1 timeout left. They have to think about making that first down, but they also have to get that ball in the end zone. They really would not like to settle for a 3-pointer here.
Navarro, remember, is the big target. He hasn't scored a touchdown yet. Pinkett is out with that twisted knee. He was their leading pass catcher last year, not this year. Leading runner last year, and he is this year. Here's Berline back. He has got the scoop of what it is he is to do.
Well, this is the place on the field where you'll see defensive teams use the safety blitzes, the strong safeties, or the free safety blitz. And Miami has any feeling of wanting to get after him. This is where you might see him come with some exotic type blitz, Jim.
Well, it is 3rd and inches to go. The ball is just inside the 9-yard line. There are 25 seconds left. Notre Dame's got the ball, and they trail 7-2 in the first half. Tim Brown will go out to the right side. Milt Jackson will come to the left side. Just 2 wide receivers. Navarro, the tight end, is on the left side. And they jumped. They jumped. They got up there at Miami, and it's eagerness. Willie Lee Broughton, I believe, is the man who did jump. And that gives them the first down, and they still got 25 seconds to go. They get the first down and don't have to expend the timeout. Don't take any time off the clock. And that'll move the ball inside the 5.
And you can rest assured that the defensive coaches are going crazy, saying, here's the nose guard right in front of the ball. All he has to do is watch the ball to move, and he jumps offside because the quarterback's cadence.
Not only that, he's a senior. It's not like he's a youngster now. Broughton is a senior.
Both teams are awful eager. Here he is up the line of scrimmage. And there it is. Just jumps offside, makes that contact. Yeah.
That is Jackson, the man in motion. Berline rolling this way. He's got everybody out. There's Jackson, touchdown. And Notre Dame goes in the lead for the first time tonight by a single point.
Well, Coach Faust, of course, trying to get him back off the field. Here he comes. See Jackson coming across the motion. Berline sprinting out to his left. Difficult way to throw the ball, but he's wide open. Defensive back had a little bite on the inside play. Now they're trying to clear the sidelines off down there. The enthusiasm of the crowd, throwing the things on. An interesting decision here for Coach Faust to make. It's 8-7, Jim. They'll probably go for the 2-point play because the 1 point would only make it 9-7. 2 point puts them a field goal ahead.
Berline remains in there, and he is asking, what should I run? But while he's saying that, let's watch this play again.
Well, you see Berline going out to his left. Now he's got to throw it back and throw across his body with that ball. That's a tough, difficult pass. Jackson wide open. Someone got mixed up in the man-to-man coverage. Got a little pick downfield. Here it is again. Good strength on the ball. Jackson looks it in, takes it across the end zone. Now the celebration begins down there.
That is his third touchdown catch, and now Berline comes out to Jerry Faust and said, I just don't understand what it is, what play it is you want me to run down there. So now they'll take the time and go over to the sideline.
Well, this was a good timeout. There's only 21 seconds to go in the half. They got the opportunity to decide whether they want to go for the 2-point play or the 1-point play. That's their last timeout. No need to take that into the halftime with them. No need to take that timeout to the locker room. So now they're going to get a chance to settle down, discuss what the offensive coaches upstairs want to call, whatever they think they can accomplish on 2-point conversion.
A reminder that next Saturday evening, Paul McGuire will be back with us, and we'll be down at Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge for LSU. Idle today and unbeaten. They've tied one, and Vanderbilt unbeaten until today, and they're playing Tulane tonight. We may have a score on that before we leave the air, but it's a big Southeastern Conference game, and when would you think that Vanderbilt would be up there in the Southeastern Conference race, and Alabama and Auburn, those folks are out there struggling a little bit.
Hey, Bill Arnsberger done a great job down there at LSU since he came from the Miami Dolphins coaching staff back in the college level. Really got that Tiger team going.
And remember, they didn't win a single game in the Southeastern Conference last year. They were 0-6. Here's Berline back. There's the score, 8-7. And what he's going for is the conversion attempt to make it a score of 10-7. Barring an unusual happening, we've had enough of those. On the kickoff, we should have no more than a 3-point ball game at the half. And now Berline is bringing them huddling over on this hash mark.
You have the option on the extra point. He's asking the officials to move the ball over to the far hash mark. They're probably going to, you look that they've got that much more field to operate going to their right, where they have the wide side of the field.
So will they come back to the short side, thinking that Miami thinks they'll go to the right?
Well, he will audible at the line of scrimmage now. If he overshift and send too many people over, he has the opportunity to audible and come back this way.
Well, Jackson's way over there. Nobody's over there with him. Now there goes Selwyn Drain, the freshman over there. And here goes Jefferson in motion. And there's the pass, and it's knocked down. That is Bruce running to knock it down. It is a 1-point ball game. A flag is down, however, inside the 5. So hold on. This may not be it. They may get another shot, or they will if it's against Miami. And I think it is. Holding on defense.
What else can we have this evening, Ken? We have to get a field goal in here somewhere because we haven't had a field goal yet.
We've had an attempt.
We've had an attempt. We've had everything happen in the first half of football that you might go 5 ball games and not see happen.
Oh, it is still 8-7, and now Notre Dame will get yet another chance. Now they're going to put Jackson out wide to the right again. And here comes Greg Jones over to double up on Howard. Throw out pitch. Oh, easy. Jefferson carries it in. It's 10-7.
Well, he runs the option play down the line of scrimmage. Here you see him lined up. He comes down the line of scrimmage with the option play. Smith is leading the play. Now when it converges on him, he pitches out to Lonzo Jefferson. Just walks in. Nobody anywhere near him.
In a wild ball game, lots of penalties, and they've been costly to Miami tonight. And then there was a call that went against Miami that was also, if it were an incorrect call, very costly on the Eddie Brown long pass where they judged he'd been out of bounds. Remember, it was Highsmith who scored first for Miami early in the second quarter on a short pass from Kozar from the 3-yard line. And then later on, bottled up, Tootin saw that he was going to be tackled maybe at the 1 or something, so he ran it out of the end zone for a safety. Smart play at the time, because Notre Dame would have had outstanding field position. That made it 7-2. And then the drive that you've just seen helped along by some penalties. But the running of Jefferson and the throwing of Berline. And finally, Jackson was wide open for the touchdown. They got an extra chance on the extra point, and Jefferson ran it in.
Well, with 21 seconds to go in the first half, we may still see some action because Kozar has the ability to move this football team quickly. They have 2 timeouts left.
Ball game is still up for grabs. 3-point ball game. Rain is coming down as John Carney will now kick it off. And this is the first time Carney has come out here since the game began to do any work at all. They just didn't go to him at all on the extra point. They wanted the 2 and finally got the 2. Now this ball is going to go through the end zone, and that's good for Miami because it'll come out to the 30 instead of the 20 and give Kozar, and the entire Miami team 10 yards closer to the goal line of Notre Dame.
And the other thing about that, the clock did not stop the start because no one was back there to touch the ball, so they still have the full 21 seconds with maybe, with the field goal kicker they might go 40-50 yards and get an attempt at that field goal.
I realize, Ed, that hindsight is 20/20, but I was kind of looking for a squib kick myself so that when some short up man take it, it might run some time off the clock and could be a fumble.
Well, you're concerned about Kozar being able to make a couple first downs and get that easy field goal attempt.
They've got it to 30 anyway. And he's going to try. Kozar from behind. And that was the good Mike Gann who hit him first and forced him inside and down. Number 78, the best pass rusher of the Notre Dame team, the senior out of Orlando, Florida. Now time is running out and has run out. And Notre Dame trailing until the last 21 seconds of the first half has the lead. At halftime, it is 10-7 Notre Dame in a ball game that we anticipated. We said there's no real idea to judge this team, Ed, either team, and we didn't know what was going to happen, and we still don't.
Well, we didn't anticipate a wild and woolly first half, but that's certainly what we had, Jim.
Everything happened. 10-7 Notre Dame at the side of the field. Now, Rockne, in his first 3 seasons here, won 21 out of 23. Frank Leahy, another outstanding coach, won 24 out of 30. Al Persigan, who still lives in town, won 25 out of 30. And then Dan Devine won 26 out of 33. But look what Faust has done thus far, 17, 15, and 1 in his first 3 years. That does not include, of course, what has happened this year, and he's 3-1 at this moment this year. And Jimmy Johnson, in his first year at Miami, after coming over from Oklahoma State, which took it on a bean today from a rather upset Nebraska, and now in charge of the defending national champions.
Well, I visited with Era yesterday, and we talked a little bit about that tradition that Rockne has set here, the tremendous national interest in this program and the amount of pressure that does put on the coaching staff.
John Carney to kick it off, and J.C. Penney and Darrell Oliver are the deep men. And you heard right, J.C. Penney is number 21. And the ball kind of slipped down to one side, and he may kick this out of bounds, but remember, that's anybody's ball. They better knock it out of bounds or Miami recover. They'll throw flags over there, because if it had been recovered by Notre Dame's Francisco, who was over there, of course it would have been Notre Dame ball. This has been something. Now what, we say, as the referee James Garvey comes back to tell us.
Well, I'm sure that the ball went out of bounds without being touched by Miami.
That's what it's going to be. They'll move it back to the 35. I thought something else might have happened, but it did not.
Well, again, we see the strategy now of the new kicking rule. Here they are trying to get a sky kick, as they call it, up in the air. If he'd have caught that ball, he overran the ball there. If he'd have come down and caught the ball, it would have been their ball in that position because it is a free ball.
Well, they tried a sky kick against Purdue. They ran down the field, and as I recall, it was Jefferson had the ball right in his hands and it squirted away from him. They would have recovered what they call a sky kick. And as Jerry Faust says, many people think our kicker just didn't kick it right. That's exactly what he's told to do. Kick it high in the air, and at Notre Dame, they call it the sky kick. Now again, Carney to kick the ball away, but this time from the 35. 10-7.
Go!
This time he kicks it, and this may go through the end zone, but it'll roll out of the end zone.
Well, now that's a rule. Now that that ball hit in the end zone, it only comes out to the 20. If it had gone 5 yards farther and hit outside the end zone, it came out to the 30.
Bernie Kosar coming on. You saw his stats for the first half, 10 of 15 for only 59 yards. He is used as his running backs Oliver, Williams, and he's had Highsmith and Bratton. And now it is Oliver and Highsmith who are in there with Ed Brown, one wide receiver, and Stanley Shakespeare, the other. And Oakley dropped the football, and Highsmith goes for it. I think Notre Dame got it. First play. Highsmith dropped it, and McCabe jumped on it.
Oh, what a break to start the second half for the Irish. First play now, the fumble. They get the ball in great field position. The lineup, Kosar comes out, makes a handoff. Oh, he never got the ball on the handoff. The center exchange between the quarterback and the fullback made the fumble. There comes McCabe in there. Johnny on the spot getting the ball.
Well, here comes Burline out now, and he's sending Milt Jackson, who's already scored one touchdown out wide to the left, has Joe Howard to the right. And Pinkett is back in there despite the twisted knee with Mark Brooks. First down at the 20. They give the ball to Pinkett. Doesn't look like he's got a twisted knee to me. He is knocked down by McVeigh across the way, number 93, inside linebacker. But he gets down inside the 15, a pickup of 6. It is second down and 4.
Well, he fumbled that ball at the end of it. The official ruled he was down. Here you see him getting the handoff, going to the outside. There was an excellent hole there. He turns upfield. Now he's got some running room. And look at the pursuit coming across there from the backside to make that play.
Well, a friend of mine is often known to say the ground can never cause a fumble. Second down and 4. Big chance for Notre Dame. They trailed throughout much of the first half. Till the final 21 seconds. And Pinkett again, this time coming this way. That is Brown chasing him, and Brown takes a hit from another freshman, Tolbert Bain. And a flag is down. And Notre Dame is walking backwards. In that first half, Miami was penalized 6 times for 46 yards, Notre Dame twice for 16 yards. And of those 46 yards, 30 were for unnecessary conduct or roughness or unsportsmanlike conduct.
Well, we got a penalty on Notre Dame with that running play before him. I think that moves Pinkett is now the 5th in the all-time career rushing at Notre Dame.
They're going to move it back, though, and cancel it. Cancel it. I think the initial, as you see unnecessary roughness there, I think the indication given to Jerry Faust was someone threw a forearm. So cancel what Pinkett did and bring it back to the 24.
I wouldn't be surprised there are a few forearms being thrown in that line of scrimmage in there right now.
10-7 the score early in the rainy third quarter. Both Jackson and Howard go to the left. It is now second down and 14 to go. And here's Burline. Burline retreating, setting it up, throwing it to Chris Smith. And Smith has not. Whoa! He steps away from 2 men. He gets down to about the 21. A pickup of only 4 yards on the play. It'll be third down and about 10 to go. Willie Lee Broughton and John McVeigh stopped him. But Smith, for a fullback, made quite a move.
Well, it was an interesting play. As he came back, he faked like he was going to throw the screen to the left, then turned around and threw the screen pass back to the right. Hurricane did a good job with it, but Smith did an outstanding job of running to pick up about 7 yards on that play.
Let's call it a gain of only 3. It's third down 11. Good play here for Burline. Looking, waiting, getting the ball up, and that's almost intercepted down there by number 1, Reggie Sutton. And remember, Calhoun took himself out after being wrapped, and we still have not seen Calhoun come back. Selwyn Brown has been in the secondary for Miami, well, since midway through the first quarter.
Once again, Jim, we see a penalty that played a big part in this ball game. They got the turnover, made a good gain. All of a sudden, they took themselves back and now have to settle for a field goal attempt.
Now here is Carney, is 5 for 6 for field goals. Against Missouri, he hit field goals of 25, 44, and 37 yards. This will be of 39 yards if he makes it. They're pulled to the hold, and from 39 yards out, and he's got plenty of foot, and it is good. Miami jumps out to a 13-7 lead. We've got 12:54 to go in the third quarter. The fumble set up the field goal. And he won't do it again. Penny and Oliver, the deep men.
Kicking into pretty stiff wind now. That wind is blowing pretty good down through there now, Jim, with that rain.
Nope, kicks it away. And this is the youngster J.C. Penny at the 5-yard line. He's got some speed, looking for a hole, runs into one of his own men, gets across the 20 to about the 22. And now, Bernie Kosar and company will try to do a little bit better than what they did the first time around when Kosar and Highsmith had trouble with a handoff and gave the Irish a gift at the 20, which they capitalized on to get 3 points.
Well, the rain's coming down pretty good now, Jim. It may begin to be a factor. Earlier, it wasn't raining that hard, but right now it's coming down awfully strong.
Miscues, you can see what they've led to. 5 points for Notre Dame, and they lead by 6 points. And put a penalty in there, and that gave them the extra 2 when they failed in the conversion. Here's Kosar. Oh, he's got his man Brown wide open. Brown's got speed, and Brown is caught from behind by Ballard. And that's a first down all the way out at the 45-yard line. That's the biggest play of the night for Kosar and Brown. They missed on a big one when Brown was out of bounds back in the first half.
Well, he's a game breaker that they have to make big plays for him to make things happen. You get a shot of Kosar going back here now. And as he goes back and set up, now watch his form and technique. He sets, looks around, has presence of weight. Now he sees Brown, delivers that ball, zips it right in there.
Shakespeare to the left, Brown to the right, and Kosar back to give the snap signal or say something to his up back, to his Alonzo Highsmith. Big pitch back to Oliver. Oliver gets away from one man and does a good job of running and picks up maybe 7 yards before Kovaleski finally gets him, along with a little help from Pat Ballage. Numbers 49 and 40. Mark the ball in Notre Dame territory at the 49. It's second down 4. Well, the 70% rain forecast proved to be at least 70%. It is raining very hard.
There's a good shot on the sideline. You can see how hard it's raining.
Again, 5 defensive backs on second down for Notre Dame. Kosar hands the ball to Oliver. He's got blockers in front of him. Slips one tackle, and he's got the first down at the 40-yard line. Tackle finally made by Joe Johnson. And Miami comes right back.
Well, again, Jim, we saw him audible into this play against those defensive backs. Now, a little bit over-pursued by Kowalski. Worries to get to the outside. Comes back, misses the tackle over the top, and he cuts it back inside. He audible to that play, realizing those defensive backs don't like to get up there and make that many tackles and aren't used to playing those positions.
From the 40-yard line, 13-7 Notre Dame. A little bit more than 11 minutes to go, third quarter. First down. Kosar in the rain, firing, and has Willie Smith, the tight end. And Smith is knocked down almost immediately by John McCabe, the linebacker. But that's 8 more yards. Moved the ball inside the 35 down to the 33.
One of the things that happens is difficult for those offensive linemen. You see the linebackers coming back into the zone coverage here. Now, Smith breaks to the outside. Good pass by Kosar because McCabe wasn't that far away from him.
Second down and short. Miami, after the disappointment of giving up the fumble and the subsequent 3 points, has moved right back. Nearly on every second down or third down situation, Notre Dame has at least 5 defensive backs. Sometimes they go to 6. Here's Highsmith. He's got the first down. He runs by a lot of folks before he's taken out of bounds by Hiawatha Francisco. But to mark that ball inside the 25 and move the sticks again. First down for the Hurricanes. And the crowd, always a sellout at Notre Dame Stadium. They even televise them locally when they can here. It makes no never mind. Everybody still wants to come here. Is strangely quiet. Well, not so strangely, but very quiet. As a matter of fact, when Notre Dame warms up, there's a pretty good section of folks in the stands watching the warm-ups on a Friday. First down, Kosar sticking to the ground. Oliver breaks the tackle, heads for the sidelines. Ballage has him, but he gets inside the 20-yard line with a pickup of about 5.
He did a good job of running that play, though. There was nothing there. He made that all his own. He hit in there and then bounced it to the outside. The defensive linemen right now are kind of an in-between position. They know it's difficult to rush because of the wetness of the field. Miami's taking advantage of this fact by running the ball a little bit when they put those extra defensive backs in there.
2nd down and 5. Kozar not going to the air too much. He's been staying on the ground, but he had the one big pass to Eddie Brown on this drive, and then the good pass to Willie Smith to pick up the 1st down. But by and large, it's been his backs running the ball. And here comes Oliver again to the side, and he just buries his head and gets inside the 20-yard line. May not have gotten back to the line of scrimmage. Mike Kovaleski led the tacklers, and it'll be 3rd down.
Well, now that time, Jim, the Irish did not put those defensive backs in there. They kept the linebackers in there, and they played the running play very well.
Miami's going to think it's going to be a great day when they finally get some sunshine. They played against Rice last week in a driving rain, and here they are in a driving rain here in Notre Dame. Next week they're at Cincinnati. 3rd down and 5 to go.
Look at Griffin, how tight he is on the center here. Almost lined up right on the ball.
Those are 3rd and 5. Gets the ball away, and it is caught, I believe, or they say incomplete. Which? They're going to say Brown, I think. Brown, 1st down. Brown makes a clutch catch, fighting the ball away from Steve Lawrence.
A tough call from the official standpoint now, whether he cut the ball before he went down or whether he fumbled it after he went down, but they're holding it. But we got a good shot of the replay. The nose guard playing tight, tries to get up through there, but Kozar has time, looks, waits to the last second, unloads it. Here you see the catch by Brown. He goes down, and again, the ground cannot cause a fumble. You see the ball coming out, and they're scrambling around for it.
1st down inside the 10-yard line. Here's Highsmith. Highsmith down to the 5-yard line. They'll mark it inside the 5 at the 4. And it'll be 2nd down and goal to go. 8:22 left, 3rd quarter. Notre Dame holding on to a 13-7 lead, and Miami knocking at the door with a long, long drive.
Well, this is what they would like to do, get 7 points out of this. Well, Steve Lawrence really came up in there and made a fine tackle from the secondary on that play, Jim.
Jimmy Johnson getting wet, but has to be happy with what's going on at the moment. If they can hang on to the football. And again, Highsmith trying to get into the end zone and does not. A lot of folks hanging on to him, and you can see that John McCabe, 45, is the man who had him around the waist. So now you get down to 3rd down, and the ball is just at the 2.
They just lined up in a power formation and tried to ram the ball, tried to fire off the line of scrimmage. McCabe made a good job of coming up in there. Now we got a 3rd down and 2 situation. This could be an interesting call from Miami's standpoint.
Hate to drive long distance like this and come away with 3. Worse to come away with nothing. What they want is at least 7.
He's audible, and they're going up the top.
Right again. Highsmith carries the ball, and they're not marking it for the touchdown. It is 4th down and inches to go. Lawrence came up to make the stop.
Now, the reason they went up the top here, the lead back was cheating a little bit, but he audibled to that play, and they stopped it in the goal line. Now we're going to come up with a 4th down. Look at the pursuit and looking to keep him out of the end zone. Now you've got an interesting decision to make. Do you go for the touchdown, or you go for the field goal?
Well, I think they'll go for the touchdown, don't you?
Well, I would think so, too.
If they fail, Notre Dame's got it on the 1-inch line.
That's exactly right. If they don't, it's almost on the goal line right now.
Maybe Kozar or you're over the top situation. 4th down. Highsmith, he's going to make it easily. And Highsmith scores his 2nd touchdown of the night. One catching a pass, this time running, and now it is a tie game. What a drive by Miami, by far and away the best drive of the night. And they put in their kicker, Mark Seelig, to take the 1-point advantage. 2 here would do no good. Field goal would still put them ahead, so go for the safe 1 if you can to break the tie. We have 6:45 to go, 3rd quarter. Not a bad ball game, is it? Unusual in many respects. Seelig doing all the kicking. Since Greg Cox is left behind for disciplinary reasons, makes it. He breaks the tie, and Miami's back on top. 6:45 to go, third quarter, 14-13 Miami.
Replay of the touchdown where he does a reverse pivot, hands the ball. Now the cornerback just doesn't stay outside. He had to stay outside to contain that play. Once he made that little move inside, very easily for Highsmith to bounce it outside with his size and speed.
Just bounce it right off Troy Wilson, the cornerback, and now Seelig kicks off. And this is taken by Francisco, at least taken for the moment, that he drops the ball and is going to get some yardage out of it after all, and maybe a lot more than what most expected. Fumble the ball at the 5, but gets a hold of the flag, goes down again. He had one of the old double dippers, personal foul on one side, personal foul on the other, offsetting penalties, keep the ball at the 29, first down, Notre Dame. They trailed by a single point. And this is Smith, the fullback, and he's got a big hole. Ran right into Sutton, but he still gets 8 or 9 yards. By the way, we told you that Ken Calhoun took himself out. They don't know whether he's concussed or not, but he's got double vision at the moment, or has been suffering from it. And so the senior, and he is the big man in the backfield, experience in the backfield, has been out since midway in the first quarter. Ball is at the 38-yard line, second down, and about a yard to go only. Fake to Pinkett. Berline holds on to the ball, and sliding down is Mark Bavaro at the 44-yard line.
Well, that's one of the problems with the rain. He came across, he was open, but he tried to throttle down so he wouldn't go out of bounds and slipped. You see him coming across the field, avoiding the linebacker. Now he's open, and the ball's a little bit late. He tries to slow down to catch the ball. His feet go out from underneath him. Doesn't have a chance.
And now Ricky Gray comes in to give them added blocking on third down and short. That's the way to watch a game. Who cares if it's a little wait? Look at Chicago. If they win tonight, that's the Cubs in the World Series against Detroit. Oh, they lost the football, and Berline does not get the first down and lost a couple of yards. And now they are going to have to kick it away. Instead of going for the first down, the rain, which first of all had Bavaro slipping so he couldn't catch the pass, has Berline slipping and losing the football, and now they got to kick it away.
And that certainly could have been a big play in the ball game, Jim, and if they're sitting there with a second down and 1 yard to go, and they never made the first down out of it. We've got to turn it back over to Miami. Miami just coming off that one long drive we had in the game.
Brett Perriman is deep. Ball is kicked away by Viracola, and this is fair catch time. And Brown is the up man, makes a sure-handed catch at the 38-yard line. 5:16 to go, third quarter. Miami 14, Notre Dame 13. And the weather has had a lot to do with the game here in the third quarter. Figuring this is a pivotal game for both teams, Jerry Faust is 3-1. If he goes 4-1, it'll be his best start ever. And if he loses tonight, well, it won't be that a good start, and he'll only be 9-9 in his career as the head coach here at Notre Dame in home games. And of course, Miami wants to stay in the top 20 or 30. Now there is Highsmith making a good move and picking up, well, very close to first down, if not the first down. Almost looked as though he was trapped, broke one tackle in the backfield, and moved it across the 45 to the 48.
Well, he ran a draw play, Jim, and he made all that yardage on his own. As you said, he was stopped in the backfield. There was no place for him to go, but he found a way to make some yardage, and that's what the great backs do.
Another good back. Joe Johnson is down, took quite a shot, and like Calhoun, who's out for Miami, Johnson is the big man with the experience in the defensive backfield of the young Notre Dame team. Now, next Saturday night, Paul McGuire will be back from all those honors he's getting as a member of the all-time Buffalo Bill team to join me down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And we'll have Vanderbilt and LSU. And we appreciate that Bile sitting in for Paul tonight. It is his expertise. Second down and maybe a foot to go. Goes on, second down and a foot. Still has the football after the fake, and look at Brown, and it's off his fingertip. Crossing with Steve Lawrence, but Brown had it there in the rain, and that ball was very hard thrown. And even, I guess, on a different kind of night, it might have been an easier catch than what it turned out to be.
Well, the thing that he did, he came out from underneath here, fake play action, faked the reverse to Shakespeare, which froze the Notre Dame secondary a little bit, looking for the reverse. Now he plants and delivers it down there. Very difficult to catch this pass, though. He was wide open. Could have been 7 points.
Like he slowed for a moment looking, and then by the time he put it on again, he had to reach out for it and didn't get it. No matter, it's 3rd and short. There's nothing to worry about Brown as a receiver. He's a good one, and Highsmith gets the first down. Alonso's had a good night, catching a ball for a touchdown, running a ball in for a touchdown, and this is a first down, Miami.
Well, as the flow of the game goes on, Jim, you can kind of relate here. Notre Dame before had a 2nd down and 1, threw a pass just like Miami did there. But on 3rd down, Notre Dame fumbled the snap, didn't get it. Now Miami has picked it up on that 3rd down and short yardage.
I'm going to say something you said earlier. It's raining harder than what it was before. It is getting almost torrential now. First down at the 48, and the wind is blowing it. Ozar, and the pitch to Highsmith, who falls down. Just can't move around back there.
Well, if all fields, all grass fields are, they have a crown in the middle, and you're running downfield a little bit. As you're running downfield a little bit, sometimes it's hard. Here you get a look at it. You see he's kind of running downfield a little bit. As he tries to plant, those feet go out from underneath him, just can't do anything with it.
By the way, this Notre Dame field has one of the less severe crowns of most college fields.
The turf was in super shape at the start of the ball game, but we've had a steady rain since, midway in the first quarter, and now it's raining fairly hard.
Fairly hard? What are you going to say? 2nd down and 14. Haywood's in there as a 5th defensive back for Notre Dame. Kozar dumps it out here. Highsmith on the screen, steps inside one man and picks up some of that yardage, and very close to a first down. What a good run by Alonzo Highsmith.
Well, he really came with a great call on that 2nd down and long. Going back and throwing a screen pass, and then, of course, Alonzo Highsmith did an excellent job of running. You see Kozar coming out, again, looking downfield, sets the screen up perfectly. Now he's got the blockers out in front of him. See him cut back. Hard to get under control to make the tackle there. Now from behind, but he keeps driving. Same kind of effort Bavaro gave early in the ball game. Make himself about 4 or 5 extra yards.
He's got a first down. Look at the rain pelting down. There's the crown you're talking about, and no, that's not severe. Sit on the bench at Oklahoma, for example, sometime and see how that crown is. And now Highsmith does it again on first down and gets the ball inside the 35-yard line to the 34, a gain of 3 as Windley, remember, an offensive lineman, is playing nose guard tonight. Notre Dame lost Tony Furjanic. Eric Dorsey is out. And they put Windley in as a nose guard because Griffin and Kiernan are having troubles there with injury problems. Dingens has played tonight. He missed a couple of games because of injury problems. 2nd down and 7. 14-13, Miami, 2:20 to go, 3rd quarter. Kozar has the time, delivers the ball, and a flag is thrown as Eddie Brown catches the ball. What the flag is for, we'll have to wait and see. Flag was thrown before Brown got the ball, and then maybe he was interfered. They're going to move the sticks down as a first down.
Well, I was wondering, Jim, whether that official was marking that he might have gone out of bounds. Here he comes out, fakes a play action. Again, has plenty of time, hard to get pressure in the rain. Now, here we come, Brown coming back to the inside. Kozar watching the completion, looking to see what happens with it. And a little show of motion here, maybe in a second with him.
No flag. That was a marking for where the ball was down. First down at the 20-yard line. Another good drive by Miami. Here's Highsmith again, trying to get outside. Does get outside. Now Howard comes over and knocks him out of bounds inside the 15 at the 13-yard line. A pickup of 7 on the play. 2nd down and 3. And the Hurricanes on the ground with Kozar now and then throwing the football are shaking up Notre Dame.
Well, here's a handoff. Here's Highsmith going. They don't see this very often. They use the straight arm there, push the tackler off, now turns, just levels off and goes downfield. And of course, you got a mismatch when you got a 230-pound fullback going against a 180, 85-pound defensive back.
Jimmy Johnson has put his hat on, and Alonzo Highsmith is bent over as though he is hurting somewhere. I don't know whether he pulled a hamstring, has a cramp, or what, but he's going off. But Ed, if you had to take a choice, and maybe you've got an obvious choice, this rain, does it benefit either team one more than the other, or the break's just up the grabs?
Well, I think it is benefiting Miami now in that Notre Dame had to prepare for the passing game. They got them off balance a little bit by the fact that they're running. They spent a lot of time working with those 5 and 6 defensive backs. You have the problem when they go back and pass that your defensive linemen, it's very hard to get any pass rush in weather like this. It favors the passing team because the receivers know where they're going. So I think they've got Notre Dame off balance right now.
Warren Williams is one running back, the freshman out of Fort Myers, number 24. He started the game over Darrell Oliver. And we will see that Melvin Bratton will wind up as the fullback, another freshman out of Miami. So 2 freshmen running backs. Second down 3. They give the ball to Warren Williams, and he's got the first down inside the 10-yard line. First and goal to go. Miami leading by a point and driving again with yet another good drive.
Well, that just was one of the basic old-fashioned football plays where you line up, you pull a guard, run an off-tackle play, and try to force it forward to get yardage. Jerry Faust recognizes the importance of this situation. If they can hold it to a field goal, but if Miami gets on the board with another touchdown, now you're looking at a long fourth quarter.
We've got 1:35 and counting to go in the third quarter. There's the score, and that's the situation. Shakespeare wide to the right, Brown to the short side. High formation shown by Miami. Ozar, short drop, looks around, fires into the end zone, up in the air, and intercepted in the end zone by Ballage. Intended for Shakespeare, but a flag is down, and they may call interference. Stand by. Ballage says, what? It may be interference. Oh, what a big call that's going to be, Jim, if it's interference when they don't get that turnover. A big play in the ballgame. And that's what's going to be. It's going to be. Instead of Notre Dame ball at the 20, it is Miami ball, first and goal to go. That'll be half the distance. Let's see if we get a shot of it. Kosar's going back, looking downfield. There he comes with a pass. You see it? I didn't see anything in there. Looked like a good, clean play. Looked like it was tipped on the underneath people. Could have been that he was held up before he came into the picture, because the flag went down immediately. And I'm not saying that's what did happen. I'm simply saying it was a quick flag. So somebody was very definite about his call. But it's first and goal to go. Another break against Notre Dame. Highsmith is back in. Touchdown, third of the night. Second running. And now Notre Dame is in trouble. 1:04 to go, and in this driving rain, they need points.
Well, here you see him down on the goal line on this play. Miami's offensive line did a good job of driving out. He cut back behind the blockers and got into the end zone. Linebackers have to get up in that hole. I think they're a little discouraged and probably disheartened by that call on there. Here again, you see it cutting back behind the line where they're driving people out. Nobody from the backside getting up into the play for the Fighting Irish.
And I'm sure Miami fans are thrilled to see Alonzo Highsmith back in after he was taken off the field. Mark Seelig to attempt the extra point here, which would mean that Notre Dame needs 8 to tie if he gets it, and he gets it. 1:04 left, and Miami down 13-7 early in the second half when they fumbled on the first play from scrimmage, have fought back from that 13-7 mark, and now lead 21-13 here late in the third quarter. And Highsmith has scored 3 touchdowns. 2 running and 1 catching the ball. Now word about another ESPN special series, and that would be the Breeders' Crown Championship Series. We're traveling around the country for live coverage of the Breeders' Crown Championship Series, which is a series of harness racing designed to establish the champions of the sport in 8 classifications. Now they base this on age, sex, type of gait. It's a $4 million series. And our next one coming up is Friday, October the 12th at 9 o'clock Eastern from Pittsburgh, a 2-year-old colt pacer event. And now Notre Dame will get the ball back. Miami up by 8. Texas 28-7 over Rice. Texas #1 in the nation in most polls. Florida State trailing Memphis State at the half, and is not a surprise. Kentucky over Rutgers, and Rutgers is in for a surprise. Tulane over Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt unbeaten and highly favored to beat Tulane down by 14. Stanford over UCLA. Terry Donohue's group having a tough time this year. How about that Tulane Vanderbilt score? Would you believe that?
Looks like it's going to be the weekend of upsets, Jim.
Oh, my. And now this will be Francisco at the goal line to the 10, 20, and gets across the 25 to the 28. He's done a good job returning kickoffs lately, but that's not what Notre Dame wants to do, return kickoffs. That means the other team has scored.
That's exactly right, and this is really a key series for the Irish right now, Jim.
And a flag is down again. Offside against Miami. And Berline said, I'm standing right out here. We're not going to kick this thing again, as wet as that ball is and with the good situation we've got here. So they refuse the penalty. Ball is at the 28-yard line, 21-13. You can see the clock, 58 seconds to go in the third quarter in a driving rainstorm in Notre Dame, Indiana. Our regular Saturday night presentation live of CFA football. Next week, you got LSU and Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt might have been looking ahead to LSU. George McIntyre better get his men.
Better get him looking behind her today, or whatever it might be.
All right, that is Joe Howard wide to the right, Jackson to the left. And here's Pinkett carrying the football, and Knight down as he gets to the line of scrimmage. That was a good play right there by Colbrand and the linebacker John McVeigh, number 93.
And John McVeigh has been all over the football field this evening. He's been in on a big percentage of the tackles.
Second down and 10 to go. Now Pinkett now has 2,231 yards, but he's still nowhere near a 70-yard night thus far. Berline back, being pursued, gets the ball, and is caught out at the 35-yard line. And Myra puts down Milt Jackson. So now it is going to be third down and 4 to go.
Berline took a pretty good shot at the end of that play. Got up feeling his ribs up a little bit. Now again, you got a key play from the Notre Dame standpoint, Jim. Third down and 4. They haven't picked up any first downs this second half. Now trailing, end of the quarter.
Third quarter is over. We're in a rainstorm at Notre Dame, and Miami's had a good third quarter, coming up with a couple of touchdowns, and they lead 21-13 with a quarter yet to play. Notre Dame trailing by 8 from Notre Dame. I'm Jim Simpson with Ed Biles. We begin the fourth quarter. It is third down and 3 to go for Notre Dame at their own 36-yard line. Oh, my. It might have been at somebody in the Notre Dame line. Ooh.
I believe we'll find they called that on the quarterback for backing out of there. Drew him offside, Jim.
Legal procedure in motion, so instead of third down and 3, it is third down and 8. And Notre Dame has been guilty of mistakes, some of which have also been made by Miami, in that the ball is slippery, but this is just a mistake of omission here.
Well, he was expecting a snapper. Either he audibled the play, and maybe he changed the starting count, and he was the only one that knew it. The rest of them didn't go with it.
Mike Kelly wasn't going to give it to him. Miami's not been penalized in this half. They had all 6 of their penalties in the first half. Now it is third down and 8. Berline by himself is Milt Jackson, and he's got the first down.
Well, they certainly needed that play. They needed a lift. They haven't had anything this half to make the lift, and all of a sudden they come with him back in motion, come across off the motion play.
Well, I tell you what, he was the only receiver out there, and there was nobody within 5 yards of him. They didn't flood any area. They didn't send out a lot of folks. It was just Jackson coming out across the middle, and all of the backs watching him catch the ball before they put it down.
Jackson get open, and everybody else block, huh?
Bill Jackson, he did a good job there getting open, wide open. First down at the 47. And now Pinkett, runs right in to big Jerome Brown, the sophomore. And that's a loss on the play. Second down.
Well, there we see the third quarter stats. Now, there's been a big change from that halftime stats. At halftime, Miami only had 145 yards. Now they've got 232. And Notre Dame had close to 200 at halftime. They lost yardage in that third quarter.
Well, remember the time of possession. Notre Dame had nearly 5 minutes on Miami. Now Miami has more minutes with the ball than has Notre Dame. Second down. There's Pinkett. There's nobody out in front of him. Pinkett with a couple of good moves is finally caught from behind by Joe Colbrand, the senior out of Merritt Island. But that's another first down Notre Dame at the 41.
But Pinkett's exciting. You know the linemen love him when he comes up there. They don't have to make quite as good blocks when you've got that good back running. Now he's got 12 rushes for 57 yards now, Jim.
Hasn't come up as high as 70 yet, and that's amazing. But they've been banged up in the offensive line. Jackson, who caught the big pass, comes out to the left. Joe Howard, who's caught one tonight, goes to the right. Miami by 8, Notre Dame driving. Oh, look, absolutely fell down. That's the result of the rain. We need not tell you, but Chris Smith tried to get a start there and just fell right down, and that's a loss back across the 45 to the 46.
Well, they were attempting to run a counter-type play, and as he planted and then started to come back, his feet went right out from underneath him, and as he fell down, of course, in college ball, you can't get up and run.
After Miami scored the touchdown to go ahead in the third quarter, Notre Dame had the ball. On one play, Bavaro fell down, couldn't catch a pass. On the next play, Berline pulling away fell down, and they had to kick the ball back to Miami, which went on to score again. Now second down and long, and Berline rolling out and flipping the ball to Pinkett, and Pinkett is caught from behind. It'll be third down, 4-5 to go. Again, the fellow you say is all over the field is there again. Number 93, John McVay, the junior linebacker out of Miami.
He has just been playing a tremendous ball game. Originally was a down lineman. Started at Kentucky, transferred back to Miami, and then they moved him to the linebacker.
Third down and 4 to go. Jerry Faust trying to win tonight. He's barely above the 500 mark here at Notre Dame Stadium. Would like to get off to a 4-1 start, his best in his career. And of course, Jimmy Johnson wants to go up 4-2. And up, another slip. Pinkett took the ball, fell flat on his back, and it's fourth down.
Well, it's going to be an interesting situation now when they make this decision. I would think they're going to go for it on this fourth down play. But there was a good example of what the field does for you. Pinkett with his quick feet tried to cut back behind and just wasn't able to retain his feet.
Julio Cortez is limping a little bit, the outside linebacker, and they may substitute for him. Let's see if he goes out. Yeah, Cortez is going to go out, and Winston Moss comes back in. And Notre Dame will go for it. Fourth down and 3 from a 35. 11:36 to go. They trail 21-13. The line, down he goes, and Miami takes over at the 45.
Well, that's one of the few times that Miami has blitzed. They all lined up. They came up in there tight. They were up on top of the receivers, and the blitz was effective. Here you can see him lined up in there. Now here they come. Here comes all those defensive linemen, along with a cornerback. With a cornerback blitz, you see Reggie Sutton coming in, making a tackle.
11:23 to go. Fourth down and 3. They didn't get it. They lost ground. Miami 21-13. Miles and I, and that is not Ed there, but Ed Miles and I, after the game, will be picking the Chevrolet players of the game, one for each team, and Chevrolet will give the scholarship fund of each school, Miami, Notre Dame, $1,000. First and 10 for Miami at their own 45 after they stop Notre Dame on fourth down and 3. Kozar goes for Woody Smith, can't get the ball to him. Thrown past him at the 25-yard line. Second down and 10. Miami looking for the coup d'etat early in the fourth quarter with that big first down pass.
Well, they caught him in too deep coverage. You can see the drops here. Now watch the two safeties go back. The linebackers, of course, are playing underneath. Now Smith breaks behind the linebackers. He's open in the middle there, just a fraction over his head.
Well, quarterbacks love to see only two deep patterns, and Kozar thought he had it and wanted it, but did not get it. Oh, it is second down and 10. Both of these teams really want any game they play. There's no love lost, as you well know. Here's Darrell Oliver trying to get outside, and that's a good piece of running there. And he's lost the football, and it'll be recovered down there by Berticelli, the tackle for Miami. It bounced right back to Miami. Berticelli, the tackle trailing on the play, makes the first down recovery.
An interesting thing, again, on second down and long, they ran the ball. At this stage, Notre Dame should be a little bit alert. The fact here he cuts up through there, he protects the ball there, but as he makes his next move to get to the outside, there's a strip of the football bouncing around. Berticelli comes in on top of it.
Ballage did a good job to strip the football, but Berticelli was the only man near it when it hit the turf. Ball is at the 43, first down. Check of the clock, 10:50 to go in the game. Miami by 8. And now, that is Bratton getting the ball down to the 40-yard line, where it will be second down and 7. Rain continues to pour down here at Notre Dame. First quarter was rain-free, started to rain in the second quarter, picked up in the third, And it is a steady rain, but not as hard as it has been. I wonder if they can see through that.
I guess they can with the reflection of the lights.
The Notre Dame fans, maybe they don't want to see, Jim.
They got the Musco Company's temporary lights here. There are no lights in Notre Dame Stadium, so for this game, they had to bring in all these trucks and 4 huge cranes and all these lights shining down. They've also done it for the Super Bowl, and they're going to do it for next year's Super Bowl and for the Olympic Games. Amazing. All the lights just trucked in and put up. Here's Kozar, puts it across the middle, and Willie Smith makes yet another catch. That's shy of the first down. It'll be 3rd down and about 2.
Joe Johnson was hit on that. He come in and really banged into Willie Smith, and he got hurt. He's down on the ground. Looked like the shoulder.
That's the 2nd time he's been down. The other time he bounced back up for a little while, but the way Joe is bending over here, senior out of Fostoria, Ohio, he was member of what they called one of the best, if not the best recruiting classes ever at Notre Dame. It was Jerry Faust's first. Now Joe is getting up. And we'll come out for there's your Musco lighting. All of those are cranes. That's amazing. I looked out there last night while we were watching practice, and there wasn't any lights in one end. I said, what happened? They said they just took it down for a minute. They'll put it back up.
Joe Johnson was some kind of high school athlete. Captain of 3 sports in high school, Jim. Football, basketball, and track. Looked like he might have got his bell rung a little bit, coming off shaking it there rather than the shoulder.
3rd down and 2 for the first down. Miami up by 8 and have the ball in the Notre Dame 35. 2 tight ends in for Miami. Make that 3 tight ends in for Miami. And there goes Highsmith, and he's got enough for the first down. Alonzo Highsmith, as we said, has been having a good night tonight. He makes things happen. He had a 63-yard touchdown run against Rice last week. And against Purdue, in a losing ball game, they reeled off a touchdown run of 47 yards, Alonzo Highsmith did.
Don't you think his dad, who's a high school coach down in Edison High School in Florida, is enjoying seeing his son perform and play like that?
Playing very well, and he's a sophomore. Oliver in the backfield with him, a sophomore. Williams, a freshman. Bratton, a freshman. However, Eddie Brown and Santa Shakespeare are seniors. First down from the 31-yard line. And Kozar looked down and says, I want timeout. 8:55 to go. Bernie Kozar and Miami have called timeout. They've got the football. They got a first down, and they've got an 8-point lead here in the 4th quarter. There's part of the alumni band of Notre Dame, their 3rd annual reunion. Back to this big ball game. It is a wet and miserable night for the predominantly Notre Dame fans who are here. And if Notre Dame loses, it'll really be a miserable night. First down for Miami, the ball at the 31-yard line, and they've got the lead in the football. Kozar, and here's Dale Oliver, and he falls down. It's one of those nights with all that rain. The man that fell down on top of him was Mike Griffin, playing in their nose guard. He didn't play last week because of a knee injury.
Well, it's almost impossible when you're going to the outside to cut back to the inside. You almost have to try to go north and south when the field gets this wet.
8.5 minutes to go in the game. 2nd down and 10. Shakespeare wide to the left, and Eddie Brown comes to the short side. Kozar with a deep drop. Eludes one man. Now he's going to run for it. Now he's going to throw, and he's got Shakespeare over there. Shakespeare out of bounds on the 10-yard line, and no, Kozar had not yet reached the line of scrimmage. He threw the ball from about the 35. The line of scrimmage is the 31. That's a first down for Miami.
Well, as much as you tell those defensive backs to stay with their people until they get on downfield, Joe Johnson came across the line of scrimmage. Kozar taking a snap, audible to the play, gets back. Now they get good pressure on him. He gets to the outside now. As he's running this, Johnson decides to come up, thinks he has to make the running play, leaves the receiver alone behind him. And there's a big completion.
Well, the ball is just on the Miami side of the 10-yard line. Not quite first and goal to go. They could pick up a first down. But Notre Dame's got to get a little tough here, down by 8, and Miami driving for a 3rd touchdown in this half. They hope. There goes Alonzo Highsmith, who's done much of it, and he is muscled out of bounds across the way. The tackle is led by Mike Kovaleski. That stops the clock, and it's 2nd down.
Well, Notre Dame has got the clock working against him now, and Jimmy Johnson over there realizes that they play this a little bit conservative because even if he has to settle for a field goal, puts Notre Dame in a position that they have to get 2 scores. 1 score and 2 points wouldn't do it for him. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Johnson be the least bit conservative here.
A score and a 2-point conversion away from a tie, Notre Dame. But as you just said, Ed, if Miami goes in here, it makes it much tougher with the clock running down. Shakespeare's to the wide side of the field again. Second down, and there's a trip to the fall down.
Well, they try to run a little inside counter play. And of course, with the condition of the field, sometimes those counter plays are hard to get going when you change direction coming back.
Oliver just couldn't do anything. Now they picked up a yard and 2 downs. It's 3rd down from the 10-yard line. Well, what do you think?
Well, it'll be an interesting call. I think he
Woody Smith, the tight end?
No, I think he may throw the ball, but I think it'll be some possession safe type pass. I doubt very seriously whether he'll do anything wild down here right now.
Well, let's see where they go.
Not a bad place to run the
Woody
ball.
Smith is on the right side, the tight end. Shakespeare's wide to the right as a flanker, and Eddie Brown is a split end to the left. 3rd down. Kozar running, firing, and the ball is almost intercepted. He was aiming for Andy Highsmith. And here comes the field goal team. Now this is interesting because Greg Cox, remember, was 8 for 10 in field goals, 15 for 15 in conversion attempts, was left behind. Let's watch Willie Smith.
Well, Willie Smith comes across, he's wide open, and Highsmith was also wide open, but he was pressuring. He was rolling out to his left. Sometimes it's hard to find those people.
But the point is, Greg Cox was left home. Now here's a chance for Mark Seelig, who's tried one from 53 yards out. They hit one at 27 yards out, and it wouldn't ice the game. It would make very comfortable for Miami, but there's a lot of pressure on Mark Seelig filling in for Greg Cox. From 27 yards out, he does it. That is a big, big play. A chip shot for many, but when you haven't been kicking the field goals, and Mark Seelig comes through with it, the young sophomore from Mount Dora, and now they've stretched their lead. All kinds of fantasies when you grow up as a young football player to go to school and make the big play. Now, Mark Seelig has just kicked a 27-yard field goal, but that is his first ever collegiate field goal, and it puts his team up over one of the most fabled teams in all of football, Notre Dame. So you don't think that he's not feeling good. Oh, the ball bounces up, and Jefferson's got it, and comes this way and is tripped up, and down he goes at about the 25-yard line.
Well, the clock is going to become a big factor in the ball game now. With less than 7 minutes, Notre Dame has to score 2 times. They really have to have something good to happen to them. They have not moved the ball with any consistency at all in the second half, Jim.
Berline was intercepted twice, but those interceptions were in the first half. And remember that Notre Dame seemingly had stopped Miami with an interception in the end zone of their own, only to have interference called against them, and Miami got 1st and goal to go and score. Here's Berline. Something going to the Irish, throws to Pinkett, who's right there, and right there with him is Joe Colbrown, the senior out of Merritt Island, number 48. And that's not much of a gain, if any, at all, maybe a half a yard. Let's call it 2nd and 10.
Well, Pinkett, of course, with his receiving ability, they're going without a huddle.
Hurry up offense. Roll on again. Has time, hits Pinkett this time, and Pinkett this time is down on about the 33. A couple of yards shy of the first down, marked by Colbrown and Sutton this time helping out, and it's 3rd and short. The clock is running, 6:15 to go, 24-13 Miami. This is a game that Berline said he wanted badly, and they would prove that they could beat them because of what happened in Miami last year. But Miami won 20-0, and Berline said without class. Now out of the backfield is Bavaro making his first catch here in the second half. Put down by Selwyn Brown, but it's a first down for Notre Dame.
They'll stop the clock now, but they're going with that hurry-up offense. He's audible in all these plays at the line of scrimmage, looking out for the wide receivers, calling the play. Of course, they stop it. They can save a lot of time now.
They need 11 points to tie, at least 2 scores. 2 touchdowns will put them ahead, but they're running out of time. The Berline goes up top again, and unable to hold on to it is Joe Howard, probably the most sure-handed man on the team catching the football, the senior out of Clinton, Maryland.
Of course, that stops the clock with the incomplete pass, and they will go back in the huddle now and call this play.
Now Reggie Ward the fast man on the club, just a mite faster than Tim Brown, yet another freshman. Ward, number 83, with that 74-yard touchdown pass against Missouri last week, has checked in, and Pinkett has gone out. Now that means they've got 3 wide receivers in there, leaving a back in the block and Burline to throw.
And I don't think we'll see Miami blitz, so I think they'll play it fairly conservative with this lead.
Selwyn Brown has drawn the job of getting Reggie Ward, and Ward is off and flying, and they're aiming underneath now, and Jackson has it, and he is cut down on a fine play by Winston Moss, peeling off the line of scrimmage. And that's a loss on the play, and you begin to hear some mutterings from the Notre Dame student body.
I think they're a little unhappy about the fact that they've thrown such a short pass. They have to get the ball downfield. I think they'd like to see him get the ball downfield.
3rd down, 11 to go. Burline back under no pressure at all this time. Drills the ball this time in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, Tim Brown, who took quite a shot. It is 4th down with 5:20 to go.
Well, it's decision time now.
Yeah, they're going to kick it away. Hoping, I would imagine, for something to happen. Now listen, you're at Notre Dame Stadium. You don't hear this too often here, the boos.
No, they're not losing football games in the stadium, and they're very unhappy with the second half performance of the football team.
If Jerry Faust's team loses tonight, Faust at home, where they really got everybody, you know, it's all Notre Dame here, would be 9-9 at home. Cola could kick the ball away. Good kick. They had nobody back to Miami. They'll just be happy to get the football, and it takes a little Miami bounce back to about the 23. 5:11 to go. Miami 24, Notre Dame 13. Now what Notre Dame has to hope is Miami makes a mistake and coughs up the football. 23, they get 11-point lead, 5:11 to go. And straight ahead goes Melvin Bratton, the freshman fullback.
Well, you know they're just gonna run that ball now. Each tick of the clock, Jimmy Johnson knows that they're getting closer to victory. Now Notre Dame already has started to use their timeouts. They only have 3 of them. Now they're going to be down to 2.
Well, they wanted to pressure Bernie Kosar tonight. They've not done that. Kosar was virtually untouched last year. Came in tonight with 16 sacks at offensive line. Miami not been doing the job, and one of the things Jimmy Johnson wanted to do was to protect his passer. He has done that by and large. They've done a good job.
I think he's done that. I also think he'll be very happy with his running game this evening as they go back and overlook the game. They were able to run the ball a little bit more than maybe they anticipated.
Remember, next week we'll be down in Tiger Stadium, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. LSU making a run, and Vanderbilt. And then the week after that, we'll get a look at Oklahoma just after they have played Texas as they go into Iowa State. Our starts are 7:30 Eastern Time here on ESPN. 5:01 to go. Miami in the catbird seat now, but there's plenty of playing time left, better than 5 minutes. Hopes to get out of here with a 4-2 record after tonight, but things don't get much easier after tonight because they've got to go on and play next Saturday at Cincinnati. Their next home game is on the 20th at Pittsburgh. Then they go to Louisville and Maryland and Boston College in the Orange Bowl. Wouldn't that, well, that will be something on the 23rd of November. Doug Flutie making a big run at the Heisman Trophy, plus the fact the other fella, Kosar, will be throwing the ball too. 2nd down and 7 to go. Here's Kosar. He's going to throw, puts it up, and there's Brown catching the ball for the 1st down. Roy Wilson runs him out, but the ball's at the 37-yard line, and Miami has another 1st down. And the rain and the score have driven many of the Notre Dame faithful away from Notre Dame Stadium. They're leaving, coming down out of the stands. Their team is only down by 11 points with almost 5 minutes to go, but it has been a miserable night and not an encouraging second half at all for the Notre Dame faithful. They've gotten 3 points, and that is when Miami fumbled the ball on the first play of the second half and gave it to Notre Dame at the 20.
And the interesting thing happened here, Jim, I believe Notre Dame called and used their 2nd timeout after that 1st down. I don't think they're going to be happy with the player who called that timeout. The clock was stopped when they made the 1st down.
And listen to the fans. The fans are very knowledgeable. They began to boo the fact that yet another timeout. And Jerry Fouts is out on the field saying, what happened? And they're saying time was called, Coach Fouts. Now Notre Dame trying to get off to its best start under Jerry Faust, apparently, unless something turns around here, will not. They want to get off to 4-1. They're 3-1 starting tonight, won their last 3 in a row. They're losing now 24-13. They get the Air Force. They get surprising South Carolina. Both of those are home games. Then they've got to go on to play LSU. They get Navy at the Meadowlands, Penn State here, and then at Southern California in one of the great rivalries, cross-country rivalries in all of college football. But first things first, they're down by 11 with 4:51 to go. Texas over Rice, third quarter, 28-13. Miami buried them 38-3 last week in Rice. And Memphis State still holding on over Florida State, which buried Miami a couple of weeks ago, 17-14 third quarter. Stanford, oh, look at this. UCLA came back, but not enough. Stanford beats UCLA 23-21. Still waiting for that Vanderbilt Tulane shocker. The shocker of the night. First down. Notre Dame, they're hanging onto the football, and that is Warren Williams carrying for a couple of yards, but you could see the way he was carrying the ball, both arms over it. Big thing he wanted to do.
Well, they're sitting there in a position now with Notre Dame only having one timeout. They know that clock continues to run and keeps ticking down. Notre Dame has to have a fumble or something has to happen good for them right now, Jim.
Notre Dame led at the half 10-7. Since then, they've scored with 3 points. Whereas there have been 24 scored total and 17 here in the second half by Miami. Second down and 9 to go. And again, this is Bratton carrying the ball out to the 40-yard line. Another yard. It'll be third down and 7, but that'll take another 20 to 30 seconds off the clock.
Now they use their last timeout.
And Notre Dame calls timeout again. Now they got to score twice, and without a timeout, even if they should get the ball back in the break, that's going to be a tough thing to do.
Well, they're really in a difficult position. They have to have something good happen. Miami has to make a mistake. If you want to be realistic about it, they may stop them here and get the ball, and even if they drive and score, they have to do, they have to recover a fumble or whatever it might be.
I think Kozar along the sidelines there has had a fair night tonight. First 2 games of the year is hitting on nearly 65%, 3 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions, and then came lull time, 50%, 7 interceptions, only 2 touchdowns. And then despite the loss to Florida State, his last 2 games have been rather good until tonight, 64%, over 500 yards, 3 touchdowns, and only 1 interception. So of his 10 interceptions, 7 of the 10 were in the second 2 games of the 84 schedule. Tonight he has not been intercepted, although he was intercepted and it was overruled because of an interference call in the end zone. But he has done a good job. He's come up with the big play, not passing all the time, but using his situations and finding either Shakespeare or Brown and on occasion Willie Smith.
18 out of 26 was a good percentage. But the impressive thing has been the use of the running game. You can rest assured that pass interference play is going to be looked at a few times in the film room tomorrow by the Notre Dame coaching staff.
Whereas Miami will go back and see if Eddie Brown really was out of bounds when he had everybody beaten on a long pass back in the first half. Third down and 7 to go. And they're going to try to Eddie Brown, and I think he's going to pick up the first down and more. He's got all the speed in the world, and down he goes. But that's the first down for Miami, and that may be the death knell for the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, because now they can't stop the clock, and there are less than 4 minutes to go in the game.
Well, they did a good job with this call. They faked that they were going to come off tackle, reverse pivot, fakes to the fullback here with his hand, now comes back out and gives it to Eddie Brown. And, of course, he turns the corner. Once he turns the corner, he's going to outrun people with that 4.4 speed. He knows what he needs for the first, and he protects the football. The key thing there, in that Miami huddle right now, they're all talking about hang on to the football. Don't fumble.
Brown wide to the left, Shakespeare to the right, and you can bet that Kozar is not going to go up top again unless it's third and long. Something in that situation. It was Highsmith who's had a great night getting inside the 45-yard line. He has scored 3 touchdowns. 2 of them running the ball, catching 1 ball. 3:20 to go now, and they haven't even started the 25-second clock. Now they'll start it.
And Notre Dame has no way of stopping the clock now. The only way they can stop the clock now if they force a fumble or if the ball goes out of bounds. And, of course, the Miami coaches are telling them, don't go out of bounds, just protect the football.
And all the heat is on Jerry Faust to win, as we have said. He'll be 4-2 this year, but to just split 18 home games, and the only one before the home folks, the hue and cry gets a little louder. Now look at this to Brown, and Brown's got it and out of bounds on the 3-yard line. Well,
like you said, Jim, they won't put
never
the ball up
top
in the air.
again. That's right. Never do it.
But you know the difference is they're sitting there with a 11-point lead, and he almost goes in the end zone if it's intercept didn't going to hurt him. Here we see Kozar going back. This is just simply Brown outrunning the defender. His 4.4 speed, a little bit of not being alert, not thinking it's going to happen, over the shoulder catch, and he steps out of bounds.
And remember that Steve Berline said that Notre Dame was going to take it to Miami tonight because he thought that Bernie Kozar especially was not a class guy. And Kozar said, well, I'll just go out and have fun and play it. Don't you think they're not trying to put another 7 on the board here to say goodbye? Because remember, Miami has never beaten Notre Dame here in this stadium. And this would be history in the making for the Hurricane football schedule. Here's Kozar. He can run it in if he wants, but he's going to throw it low, and it's no good. I tell you what, when he looked up and saw Mike Gann and saw Wally Klein, who was 6'8", 278, he figured, I'm not going to run it in. I'm going to throw this thing.
Good judgment.
Yes,
not only
sir.
good judgment passing, good judgment running-wise.
Now it is second down with 2:42 to go. 24-13 Miami.
Well, they're on their way to winning this ball game, and it's going to put a lot of pressure on Jerry Faust and his coaching staff. As you said, they're not used to losing that many home games. Of the 16 losses, 11 of them by a touchdown or less, and all of those were coming in the fourth quarter.
Now here is Darrell Oliver bouncing off a few people who wrestled down at the 6-yard line. But that'll take more time off the clock. Jimmy Johnson had some big wins already this year over Auburn, over Florida, then lost to Michigan, beat Purdue, which today upset Ohio State. Then went down to Florida State. That was to be a big shootout. Well, it was a shootout, all right, but Florida State did all the shooting, and they beat them 38-3. They rebounded last week to take Rice 38-3 in a rainstorm, and tonight they lead Miami in a rainstorm here in Notre Dame, Indiana. This is third down, and goal to go. And here comes Highsmith looking for his 4th touchdown of the night, and he's not going to get it.
But it's going to be close down there for the 4th down play here. You know, the interesting thing, getting back to Jimmy Johnson now in his situation, he made a big move. Disciplined his field goal kicker, and this is a great way that he has established what he believes in and established with his program of believing that the things he believes in.
They'll let it go on now. They'll let that clock run down as much as they can. They do want to get the play off because they've only got a yard to go. Kozar talking to the official and may take timeout.
I would think that's what he's going to do, Jim. Wait till it gets down to about 2 seconds and then take a timeout.
He probably told the official, that's what I want. Get it down to 2. When you see it hit 2, call timeout. That's exactly what he did. He did call timeout. And so Miami has a 4th down and a yard to go. The game in hand, 1:17 left. It's 24-13 Miami. And Kozar over to talk with the coaching staff. Shakespeare and Brown, the receivers tonight for Miami. And of course, it has been Tim Brown and Jackson who caught a touchdown pass for Notre Dame's only score. But here's how these shape up. And look at the 3 men, the 5th, the 19th, and the 20th in the nation are all from Miami. That is going into tonight, and they probably will move up, although none has the numbers to catch those numbers 1 and 2 men.
Well, now you got 1:17 to go. I'm not so sure that was a very difficult play to make a decision over there.
Run to, well, I guess which hole you're going to try to hit. That might be it.
Highsmith could be going for his 4th touchdown of the evening. The way they're lined up, they're going to go up to the top of the film there. The lead back is cheated up a little bit.
Fourth down, Kozar puts it up, and there's Highsmith again. His 4th touchdown of the night, 2 running, 2 passing. And this is an embarrassing evening for the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame.
Well, they came out in the second half, and Miami came out and really took the ball game to them. He made awful good on 3rd down situations in Miami this second half. 8 out of 13 for the ball game.
And will not get easier. Let's watch this again for Notre Dame, but those are coming in the next 2 weeks.
Well, the play action fake to the backs, and Highsmith just continued on out to the flat. Rosario was wide open. 4 touchdowns. That's a lot.
That is a lot. And it is 30-13, and Seelig, who kicked his first ever field goal tonight to give them an important bulge, comes in to add the extra point if he can, and he does. And all of a sudden, with 1:13 to go, Notre Dame is being buried by Miami, 31-13. Miami's first one ever here. Notre Dame is not quite a Chicago team, but certainly in the area. Look what San Diego is doing, beating Chicago in the top of the 8th, 5-3. And if San Diego holds on, it comes down to one game to decide the entire National League Championship. Can you imagine Notre Dame losing like this in Chicago with a 2-0 lead, being forced into a 5th and winner-take-all game tomorrow, all on the same night? Oh, get the papers tomorrow. All right, Seelig to kick off. Francisco and Jefferson with the deep men. And it is taken well. It goes in and out of the arms of Smith, the fullback, who is heading for the sidelines and is down over there, and it'll be first down at the 34. Alonzo Highsmith now has 4 touchdowns.
Here you see it again. The play action pass goes out in the end zone, wide open. Can you believe that guy was a defensive end in his high school career? Look at the jubilation, happiness. He realized he scored 4 touchdowns. You think he's not a happy guy? That's what college athletics is all about.
6'1", 228 from the city of Miami. And now 18 points down, 3 scores away. Notre Dame faces the impossible situation. No timeouts left. Berline back. No pressure on him. Gets the ball away, and it is almost intercepted. And gee, does Fullington want that? Darrow, the freshman out of West New Smyrna Beach, made a diving attempt for it. Stops the clock with a minute to go. And as we started to say, things don't get any easier for Notre Dame. They've got the Air Force playing good football. They've got South Carolina coming in here. Then they got to go on the road against LSU, and we'll just stop right there with those next 3 games.
Well, the Air Force has beaten them in the last 2 years.
Second down and 10 to go. On the other hand, congratulations to Jimmy Johnson. Well, threw behind the intended receiver there.
And Jimmy Johnson deserves a lot of credit. It's very difficult to step in. They've just won a national championship. The coach leaves. He steps in, tries to establish his program. Everybody picks him to be #1, which is a little bit unfair. And he's done a good job. They're sitting 5-2. Going to be in a great position now with the next 3 ball games against teams they can beat. They'll be in a bowl game the way things are going.
Their next home game is the 20th against Pittsburgh, and the Panthers won their first game of the year today. It is 3rd down here and 10 to go. There's Berline. Look out, Steve Berline. Down he goes, thrown down there, and getting up and racing around is Derwin Jones, the freshman out of Miami. He's made the sack.
Well, those defensive linemen love this kind of situation. They know they can't do anything but put the ball up in the air. They ignore the run, split out wide, just run upfield and try to get to that quarterback.
I honestly had no line on this game at all, Ed. I wasn't sure who was going to accomplish what. But in the second half, it has been all Miami. They've done a great job of protecting the passer. And, of course, Highsmith has been terrific. Here's a pass out here, overthrown, intended for Tim Brown. That stops the clock with 20 seconds to go.
Well, I think the thing that happened, the first half with all the things that were flying around, all the safeties, the block punts, and the 2-point conversions, and etc. It looked like the Miami coaching staff went in at halftime, settled their ball club down, came out in the 3rd quarter, and had 2 long drives, did what they wanted to do.
Yeah, but remember what happened at the end of the half with 21 seconds to go. Notre Dame scored, got a second chance on the 2-point conversion, went in leading 10-7. They kick off to start the second half. First play, Miami scores. Notre Dame gets 3, and you think the impetus is all with Notre Dame, but Miami turned it right around and leads 31-13.
They recovered that fumble and only got 3 out of deep in there. They needed to take that one in to score.
First down, they can just put the knee down and call this game over. Call this game over. The game that was written up in the Chicago newspapers as a grudge match, with Berline saying that Miami was not a classy team and they would show them what class meant. Kozar takes the ball and throws it up in the seats because he's so happy they won. As time rolls down, and Notre Dame, beaten for the 2nd time this year, has had their 3-game winning streak broken. They're now 3-2, and Jerry Faust at home in his 3+ years as head coach of Notre Dame is now 9-9. Jimmy Johnson is now 4-2, and he's beaten some good clubs along the way in Auburn and in Florida and in Purdue, which today upset Ohio State. And tonight, for the first time ever, the University of Miami has come to Notre Dame Stadium in Notre Dame, Indiana, and gone away a winner. It's the first time ever. Final score, Miami 31 and Notre Dame 13. A lot of folks have gone home and left early, but there were some fine players on Notre Dame. And as we go to pick the Chevrolet Player of the Week, first of all, we'll pick Notre Dame, and we will pick a defensive man who did an outstanding job for them, number 49, and that is Mike Kovaleski, a sophomore out of Newcastle, Indiana, and this is why we picked him right there at the bottom, Ed.
Well, he had those 11 tackles. He was all over the field, tremendous effort, tried to lead his team into win. Wasn't to be, but 11 tackles for a linebacker is a tremendous evening.
And quick now, whom do you think we picked on offense for the University of Miami? When a man like this, Alonzo Highsmith, comes up with 4 touchdowns, 2 rushing the ball and 2 carrying the ball. That's got to be worthy of the Chevrolet Player of the Game award. And let's take one more look at one of the touchdowns by Highsmith.
Well, this is the last touchdown off the play action pass. He catches it in the end zone. What a jubilation. He knows that's putting the icing on the cake. He knows it's his 4th touchdown. He knows it's the first time that Miami has ever defeated Notre Dame in this stadium.
Well, Highsmith School, Miami, and Kovaleski School, Notre Dame will each receive $1,000 for the General Scholarship Fund from Chevrolet, as they're honored as our Chevrolet Players of the Week. We'll come back to Notre Dame Stadium in just a moment. There's our final score, Miami 31 and Notre Dame 13. Want to thank Ed Biles for sitting in for Paul McGuire, who's being honored this weekend with the Buffalo Bills as their all-time punter in the history of that club. And Paul will join us again next week, but we'll be down in Tiger Stadium, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. LSU doing very well, thank you, this year against the Vanderbilt Commodores, who are doing surprisingly well. 7:30 next Saturday night here on ESPN. Until then, from Notre Dame, I'm Jim Simpson saying good night, and reminding you that lighting for tonight's game was provided by Musco Lighting Incorporated. Light years ahead through technology. A fee was paid by Hilton Hotels Corporation. When American business hits the road, American business stops at Hilton, America's business address. Bernie Kosar, lots said about him before this game in this area, but he has gone away with this team as the winner, 31-13. A big star of the game was Alonzo Highsmith with his little victory dance at the end when he had scored his 4th touchdown to seal the fate of the Irish and give the Hurricanes their first ever win at Notre Dame Stadium. And now, stay tuned, for coming up is the Chevrolet College Football Report with your host, Bob Lee.